How we doing, everybody? Welcome back to the Sean Atwood channel.
Yep.
We are back here with Rymir Part 2, and Sean will be joining us in just a moment. But Rymir, thank you so much for coming back. And
Thank you for allowing me to come back. I appreciate you guys.
hey, listen, the platform is yours absolutely anytime that you need it. Now, get your questions in, and as always, start them with the 3 Qs, and then put your question in, and we'll get to them. But before we do that, how was Christmas and New Year for you, Rymir? How have you been since your the last interview with the channel? What's
Um,
been going on with you?
I actually been great. Just taking a whole lot of time to spend with the family and just just spending time with the family as much as I can. Working a whole lot, because I love them bonus checks. But I just been trying new things. We just went to the Poconos. Had some time out there. My son got to see not a lot of snow for the first time, and he had a great time. And I enjoyed everything.
Yeah, that must have been awesome. I think for when you live in a state that doesn't get any snow, and then you first get to see snow, it's freaking
No,
awesome. I've had
it's
a lot.
beautiful. It's honestly beautiful, and it's people probably say it's cool, but I feel like when it snows out and it just covers everything, and it's just quiet, like brings a like
Yeah,
the quietness
it's
to the world.
it's a beautiful moment in nature when it's all nice and glistening and flat for sure.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, but here we go. Sean has joined us.
Hey, Sean,
Rymir, how you doing, my friend?
how you doing, man? Hopefully you
Doing
enjoyed
good.
your holidays.
Well, we certainly did. We had a lovely time. My parents came and stayed here for a week.
It was
Baby
great.
Ziggy was loving it. We got him a kitchen, like a fake kitchen that we put in the living room. He's playing with it all the time.
I
How
know he
how was
loved
it?
that, didn't he?
How was it for you?
Yeah, I took my son up to them, Poconos. We spent some time out there. We didn't get to, enjoy too much because everything was closed from the snow. But he definitely got to play in the snow, and we spent time with family. So it was lovely to me.
Oh, that's what it's all about. Yes. And you're still making waves as well. I'm seeing you pop up in news stories in the UK all
Yeah,
the
I'm
time.
actually, and I've just been, just working a lot and just been trying to keep everything moving. At this time, I wouldn't say, I'm just trying to play the weight game, but I'm just doing everything I can to keep myself, moving forward and make sure, whatever them guys need me to do far as my lawyer team and my godmother and we just pushing forward.
We've got another person who's joined us. Is that
Hey everybody, how
hello?
you
What's up,
guys doing?
Grandma?
Hey Godson, you doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I like your background.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta
I
change.
tried it. We
I
trying just playing around with this stuff.
I think I'm just going to be in the background unless you guys want to talk about something I want to talk about regarding the drama that we've been through over the last 10 years, the backstories,
Yeah,
Absolutely. We would
driving
love
on the
you.
straight to it.
tracks. Yeah, it's
We
been
would
a
love
lot.
you to detail. We'd love you to detail that if you could, please.
Yeah, this whole thing has definitely triggered those emotions and stuff that happened, and reality has set in for real. So yeah.
Yeah, I can say that.
Yeah, it's been an interesting situation. So I need to just change my background.
All right, Rymir. While the background's changed, you want to just update us on how things have gone since we last spoke?
Yeah, since we last spoke, we just been all our cases is still active, and we just pushing forward. We basically trying to hold everybody accountable. It's not just one person. We're trying to hold the courts accountable for the job. The things they didn't do, the lawyers for coming in there and be able to use fraud to keep this going for so many years. We just fully is pushing to hold everybody accountable. It's not just one person. We feel like if you did something wrong, you will be held accountable because that's the way it should be. It's no, just chase one person or come after one person. This could have been over with, and since it's not over with and we still fighting, we at least think that everyone that's involved with it should be held accountable because it shouldn't even be it shouldn't even be still going on. Honestly, this could have been, as I said before, it could have been taken care of many years ago, and it didn't even have to come down to 10+ years of fighting and all the emotion and everything else that went in it, funds, and it's just like wow at this point. So we just holding everybody accountable, and we just looking for justice. That's it.
And how does it feel to have this global outpouring of support in
I'm
recent weeks
loving
that
it. I'm
we've
honestly
seen.
loving it. I appreciate everyone. I've been loving all the support. You know, it's been uplifting me. Honestly, been helping me get up. You know, and just move with that energy. Just keeping that positive energy every day, and just giving it off to my friends and family. So it's really, I love everybody's support, and I thank y'all for even being behind me and supporting me. For me, like I really appreciate everything you guys been doing over the years.
I think you've reached energetic critical mass whereby when there's that many people rooting for you all over the world and the media is putting you out there all the time, like we were seeing,
Yes, and
something,
it kind of
something,
helps me, honestly. Just it's giving me, even though the case is not over with, but it kind of gives me closure. And I wouldn't say closure, and I will stop fighting, for the truth. But the people help me, just to get past, like your father can be anyone, but just don't. I just don't want nobody to be able to go into court and have to go through all this. This is a lot. This has been a toll on me, my godmother, my family, and I'm really fighting for the future. As I said before, I don't want nobody to have to come into court and go through all these years of fighting, and it could get taken care of in a matter of days or a day. So it's like, honestly, like, I just want it to change, and I know everybody do that. We tired of seeing all the fraud and collusion and all these bad judges. Let's get them out of here. Like, let's fix our courts. Only ones that can do it is us. So we all need to link together and just start pushing. We need to push all that negativity out and put positivity in, because we will go way farther. That's just my words. Like, I say we will go way farther than we've been. It's been a lot of craziness over the years. I'm not just talking about, far as the killings and all that, but I just feel that the people is not connected, and I feel that we need to get back connected and fight for what is ours, and this universe is ours, so we need to fix it.
yeah, here's a typical response. And we're getting hundreds of these, if not thousands, for you from Monica. Rymir, good vibes are growing for you, and your mother is behind your strength, and you've brought it back to the justice system being held accountable. Right on. That's
Thank you
beautiful,
so
isn't it?
much. That's the movement. That's the movement I'm looking for. I just need everybody to stand behind me. I won't. It's not just about me. It's about all of us. And I'm just, if I got to be the person to stand in front and fight for us, I will, because only thing I want is the truth, and everyone should want the truth. Honestly, stand in front
Right,
and fight
right,
for us.
Mia. For the people watching this evening that didn't see you come on and speak to us a couple of weeks ago, are you all right just to give them a summary of how long you've been fighting this for?
Honestly, we've been fighting this for 10 plus years. It's been 10 plus years of constantly going to court, and filing, and just this stress. Honestly, I feel like this could have been over with, but I love myself and my family, and for the friends and all the support for helping me overcome this. But I honestly think this is something that we need to fix now. It's 2025. We can't go another 10 years with all these lawyers and all these bad judges. Like, you're not going to get nowhere. So please, I just ask everyone in the world, let's just fix the problem. Let's fix these courts. Let's fix everything we need to fix. We can do it. That's what I believe, and I want to give this energy to everybody. Honestly.
Absolutely. Ron, do you have a question for him before we bring Dr. Lil in to give the...
Well, I just wanted to know through this whole journey, right? What has been the sort of the biggest letdown in this whole journey, Rymir? The legal system, how long this has been going on. What has been the one standout moment where you feel like you've been failed the most by the system in this entire journey?
Honestly, I just been failed because I feel like the system. Honestly, I feel like they could have took care of the problem, but I feel like nowadays, I wouldn't say it's a money grab, but nowadays people want you to spend. I don't know what's the reason for that. Instead of, they don't try to discover and really look for the truth no more. It seems like you got to put out so much money to try to find out the truth, and I'm pretty sure it's not just going on with us, like, so it seems like, our legal system just been about money. And let me not just say it's everyone in our legal system, because we do have great people that works in our legal system. It is great judges, great lawyers, and like people that wake up every day and dedicate themselves to going to work and helping it. But it is some bad people in our legal system that we need to, point out and get them out of here. Like, we all see things that we don't say something about sometimes, and I honestly, I know it's lawyers that been doing corruption. We know it's judges that have been doing corruption, and it's been like we just need to stop it. Honestly, it's
Yeah.
just let's just cut all this out and just move on with positivity and put the people who really want to do their jobs in there in them positions, like people who really want to work some positions and doing it for the correct thing, not just to use it, because you got power in this position, or you can do certain things, or for friendships and all that. Like, you destroy others' life when you do these things and not just fighting for truth.
Yeah, I think the
Before you-
corruption. Oh, sorry, Sean. The
Oh, go on.
corruption that surrounds so many of these cases, whether it's in the Jay-Z universe or the Diddy universe, we've seen so much corruption over the
Years.
over the years. And I mean, even when we looked at a case of Natanya, she was a lady that was injured in the nightclub, and that was almost a quarter of a century ago. And how much damage control would have been done by that? Do you think the element of corruption is just an element that people have to contend with throughout the whole Hollywood genre? Do you think that no matter what you're coming up against, there's always going to be that slither of
I mean,
money?
I do believe it's some, that's like I said before, but I do believe it's some great people in there, but I believe it's a lot of people that's scared to, do the right thing, or, go over a friend because, you guys got this type of relationship, or females, or y'all build a relationship with each other. So it's like, we're friends and I can just look past that. But I do believe it's still great people all around in the world. That's just like, that's just, sometimes just don't say nothing or just don't want to step up. But I'm just asking you guys to step up, because you guys, everything you got to say, it matters. Everyone matters. Like, so please don't just sit in the back and don't think your opinion don't matter. If you see something, say something, and stop letting friends that's not doing the correct thing just do it.
Did you have faith in the justice system before you went through all this, Rymir?
Yes, I did, and I still have faith. I believe we can fix it, but I just believe, it's gonna take all of us. I still got faith in it. I just can't just throw it out. But what I've been seeing over the years is just it's the justice system is crashed. It's crashed, honestly, and we all know this. It's too many loopholes. It's too many get out of. It's just too much. Honestly, it's too much. They didn't had the same justice system for years and years and years. So they need to change a lot.
Yeah, it's manipulated by those with the most money and power.
Seriously, it's not benefiting us, honestly. I wouldn't say, when I say us, I say, the lower class, the middle class. It seems like the rich gets way more than others, and we all know that. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, we're gonna bring Dr. Lil in, who's going to give us more of the backstory and the drama and what's happened over the years. Huge thank you for coming on and sharing this with us.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. I didn't realize we were already on live. You guys y'all tough. When I came on and said, let me do my background, I didn't realize the live was on.
Yeah.
But at any rate, yeah, you guys don't mess around. I'm glad to have finally got a chance to see you guys again and talk with you. And as I were saying before, there's a lot of things that's been happening, obviously over the years. And I think for me in this particular season, I've had some triggers. And what I think a lot me and Rymir went through, and we went through a lot, that some of it was suppressed. We didn't talk about it, or we dealt with it through the system, but we didn't really take time to realize what was going on. Now that we see what's going on in this particular litigation, if you will, with Mr. Carter and the 13-year-old Mr. Busby, and seeing how they're treating him and seeing some of the things that's going on, I'm having an aha moment. But I'm also having triggers, because some of that stuff can be depressing. It can make you, if you're not careful, you'll go into a place that you shouldn't go. So some of the instances we went through, as you guys might have seen already, we had like the incidents with they visited our home 4 a.m. in the morning, and this was around filing time, filing things for the case, just doing what a normal person would do with this case, not realizing that behind the scenes they knew what was deeper, meaning the party and the attorneys. Now, I also believe the state of New Jersey knew something, because we were crying out to them for help. Going to the AG's, Attorney General's office, said, can you help us? And this went on and that went on. I mean, letter after letter after letter, and then naming people. And then nobody would do anything. But to go back to some of the incidents, the 4 a.m. incident was a little crazy when someone wanted to, I guess, talk to us. But they came 4 o'clock in the morning. They turned their lights off on their headlights of the car, and they drove from two homes away from us to our house. And I heard a little creeping through the window from the gravel on the driveway, but wasn't sure. Nonetheless, lo and behold, somebody rung the bell. Rymir was home, thank God. And Rymir is a vampire. He stays up pretty much all night. So he was up with his brother around that time. And I'm like a half sleeper. So I heard something, but not quite sure. But make a long story short, the person knocked on the door. And that night, by that time, we had turned the light out, or the door light or the porch light. Nonetheless, the next morning, when we saw those tracks on the grass, my neighbor came to me. He's like, what's going on? Now, he had sod. And that was the reason why we were able to see it. And then I kind of know what car it was, because that car had been to our home before. It was a Soul, a Kia Soul. And that's why those tracks to where they were. Nonetheless, we had to file a police report, do all that kind of stuff. And we put together the fact that it was related to the case, unfortunately. But then, sometime after that, I'm in the house by myself, and this might have been a year or two later. And this was around the time that Mr. Carter's wife, so it was rumored, was saying things about Rymir, Beyonce. She was saying, go away, little boy, go away, little boy. Now, stop me if you have any questions. Nonetheless, there was a little situation going on. They went on this cruise and had this song about All About Us. And he made a lip in her song and said, for the 99th time, the kid ain't mine, something like that, right? Around that time, it was like in the kind of spring into the fall, not spring, but the ending to the summer into the fall. So the timing was starting to change. 2 men came to my home. At this time, I didn't have a gate in the back of the house. They came to the home. I'm in the office working by myself home. They come to the back of the house. They walk past the front door to the back of the house. And I heard one of the guys say, he was telling them about the house apparently, but he said what he said in terms of, can you get in there? And the guy said, it's going to be hard to get in there. And I listened. I was like, what? I'm thinking to myself, am I hearing something? Nonetheless, make a long story short, sure enough, someone came to my home, brought another person, and their conversation was about how they were going to get into the house. Because he was like, just like last time? He said, just like last time. He said, but it's going to be hard to get in there.
Yeah, we was thinking it probably was because we have all the files, and I don't know if the files had something to do, but I guess that's when you move the files to a different.
Yeah, the files was another story. So they did want the hands on the files. We got the files out the house. Mm-hmm. But that was crazy for me. But what I'm saying to you now, reported to police, all is reported, right? All this stuff that happened to us, from other things that happened on the property, following us, all kinds of stuff. For me, it's starting to come up now. So I'm trying to deal with it and process it while all this crazy stuff is going on out there in the system. So this is nothing to be laughed about or joked about, and we sure enough ain't making it up. But unfortunately for our situation, because of Wanda being underage, did not help the situation. And the state of New Jersey, as well as Pennsylvania, should have did something in the best interest of the mother, because she was underage, and the child, which would be Rymir. But instead, they chose to go around the system. And here we were naive, just trying to think that the system was going to work, but not realizing that people were being paid off. But I'm going to stop there if you got any questions. I don't like to go on and on and on unless I, you know what I'm saying?
We love people that just go on and on and on.
Okay.
And you mentioned there was a file story. What's the file story?
The file story was somebody had tipped us off. I can't remember exactly who, because remember, we're now engrafted, so to speak, in the legal community and this whole world of whatever you want to call it, court systems, judicial, etc. Someone, I don't know whether it was from the court or an attorney, tipped us off that they were interested in our files. I'm guessing it was the part of the defendant's attorneys, because this is a paper trail. This case is all about files. So thankfully for us, All the files have been scanned, and there are duplications in 3 or 4 places. But that was one of the things that we did regarding having the files in the house. We were told to get the files out the house and don't make them local. That's what they told us. We also was supposed to have had an FBI agent come to the home because this was cross the state lines, because circumstances with this case started in Pennsylvania. The fraud started really there. And they started doing some things there with the defense attorney. And then the defense attorney there, his wife came to New Jersey. And that's how they tried to keep that going. And their whole thing was to tie this up. But in the meantime, Mr. Carter had already had the DNA of Rymir prior to all the drama. He got the DNA in 2011. So in 2011, he had it. In 2012 is when all these crazy things started happening, and the rest is history. But we understand it to be true now that we are a part of a propaganda. They were part of a system and a circumstance that we have been, I guess, chosen, if you will, to be a part of. And now it's up to us to do the right thing, because there were opportunities for me. They wanted me to take money and leave. Judges offered me money and said, look, we'll give you your money back that you lost from the very beginning. But when you get this money, we don't ever want to see Rymir and Wanda again. Do you understand? I said, no, I'm not going to deal with that, because I can't make them do something they don't want to do. And I'm still due money. So this is all started out, as you know, in 2012 for us regarding some fraud stuff. And from that point, then all the other things follow. And because of that point, I was due money, because we believe that we were defrauded in terms of the mishandling of the minimum contacts that their client had for the state of New Jersey. And in that regard, that turned into damages for me. So I was owed money, just a small amount of damages from attorney fees. But instead of going with that narrative, they wanted to flip the script and make it say, no, we don't owe you money, you owe us money. And that's when all this drama and craziness began, and manufacturing motions, and dragging us in the court. And I mean, it was a circus. Yeah, and I'm thinking, what in the world is going on here? So they had what became like a kid in a candy store, meaning the attorneys. And it just turned into a fiasco. And the judges, some of them participated because they were benefiting financially. Because one of the same judge, he asked me for money. He said, when are you going to pay me? I said, excuse me? And this is on record. When are you going to pay me? So we've been through a lot of disgraceful, crazy things. So right now, when we look at what's going on, we're not totally surprised. Yeah. Now it's starting to make sense. You know, it's starting to make sense why this happened the way it is. So I told Rymir, this is an emotional thing. This is a judicial thing. It's a system thing. And somehow, as we take one day at a time and do what we've been called to do, is do what's right, that somehow God will use this situation and other situations to unfold a plan for a bigger picture. Because we knew when this was happening early on, this was bigger than us. Because I said, this is crazy. It don't take all this for baby daddy. Something else was going on. But I had a sense enough to know that we had to ride it out. Not realize it would be a 10-year ride. And then now we're looking at what we're looking at in terms of seeing other things out there with other people and their concerns with the kind of similar situations, but not exact. The system has to be changed.
So you're saying then that Jay-Z got Rymir's DNA, so Jay-Z would have tested that privately, and he knows.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because he had it in 2011, and God spoke to us in the very beginning and told us to handle the situation with love. And we did. We contacted his office before these attorneys got involved, the in-house attorneys. They were very forthcoming. They were very cooperative. They wanted to do what was in the best interest of Rymir, including Jay-Z. But somehow he left his heart and started thinking with his head. Now, there could have been some other circumstances. He had just gotten married. Who knows where it lied? But there, at one point, there was a good conversation. They wanted Rymir. They were thinking about putting Rymir on their label. I told him I couldn't do that because by this time,
talk to us, but we don't know who fully. Like honestly, we don't. after that year, they never, you know, it was nice after that. I wouldn't say nice, but we never got no, you know, everything was just in the courts after that.
Right. Once the attorneys got a hold of it, they didn't really, these weren't attorneys that really loved Jay-Z or knew him. These were low-end attorneys that they were hired to go take care of this. Because you have a family court matter, but it was a real estate lawyer doing family law. And then the lady, Lisa Fisher Hart, she was in family. Her husband sent her to New Jersey. Both of them were doing hanky-panky. So, but these were not attorney. They had 1.2 people in their firm. That's what I'm getting at. So it wasn't really high end, and they were just trying to do whatever they thought they could do to capitalize on making money. And now you see they're a part of a bigger picture of what they did. But they were supposed to follow the law. And that's the problem we have. You follow the law and you don't run into issues and problems like this. And when you don't, look at what happens. We're standing on the law because we believe the law will prevail. The law will see us through.
And honestly, like I said before, if the judges and all, you know, everyone who looked at the case, if they thought it was anything crazy about it or thought we was just, you know, making this up, if this case wouldn't have no merit, you know, they would try to dismiss it with prejudice. And they still letting us come back and fight each year. So that just tell you a message.
So what kind of a toll has this taken on you guys' resources?
For sure.
Yeah, I would say.
Mm-hmm. And also emotional. I've had triggers.
Emotional tolls.
I've had emotional triggers since I saw that young lady who said she was 13 years old. And of course, it didn't happen to me, but hearing her voice, hearing the story, seeing what they're doing to Busby, how they're trying not to do the right thing with the law and just want all these motions and stuff, everything but except for deal with the reality. You know, a dog and pony show. The same kind of stuff we went through, but never trying to get it resolved. So I had a trigger emotionally because I felt like, wow, we've been through some crazy stuff. And I started thinking about how this person came to my home and how it made me feel to hear them say, can you get in there? He said, it's going to be hard. And I'm thinking, what am I hearing? You know, just to deal with the emotional thing of somebody following you. Because me and Rymir was in the car one time. And I drive fast already. So I had to go 90 almost, or whatever it was to get rid of these people. Just this whole thing of your life being interrupted. And in a way that it ain't all that, it's not that deep. And there was some opportunities for them to settle. They were going to settle with Rymir. And then the lawyers that he put on afterwards were low-end attorneys. And quite frankly, they were greedy. And they wanted to throw Rymir some crumbs and have a nice day. And they said, Coley, me, I didn't need nothing because I already had 2 houses. That's what they said. So at the end of the day, this is what you're dealing with. If we would have been dealing with somebody like a Gloria Allred, we might not be having this conversation because there's different levels of attorneys that do different types of work. Some of them are trashy. They just don't have they have made experience, but they don't really have some other characteristics that are needed to settle a matter in decency and in order as the law requires. But at the end of the day, yeah, the emotional thing for me in this last few months has been triggering. Mm-hmm. And I haven't talked to too many people about it. I've been talking to my pastor about it off and on. And then when things started happening and then I see all this stuff, that was the reason why I responded to Mr. Carter in this message I sent on behalf of my goddaughter, Wanda, Rymir's mother, because we love the ground she walked on. This is a good person. Mm-hmm. So God just brought us together to do a work. And all she was trying to do is resolve some stuff. And yeah, we get it. Underage is an issue. We never pushed that out there in the community. We just didn't. The media did.
And honestly, if this ain't have no truth, that's what I said. If none of this had no truth, we could have been got this, you know.
Right, and he could have been resolved this in a different way too, Rymir.
Yeah, he could have. Honestly, the court systems, everyone that was involved with it. That's why they all getting held accountable. Honestly, it's like we're not trying to be ignorant enough. And no, it's just, you know, you got to do your job, and you got to, everyone that go in court got to get fair due process. That's all we ask for. You know, everyone should get treated fairly. And if you're not doing that in the courtrooms that we all paying taxes, and we're supposed to go in there and respect these judges and lawyers, and we can't even get respect back, I honestly don't. People going to start losing a whole lot of respect for these courtrooms.
Exactly. The judges were the ones who signed those orders. They signed.
When they're attempting to intimidate you guys like this, does it strengthen your resolve to keep going, or are there moments when you feel like, wow, this is scary, maybe it's not worth it?
No, honestly, we already had this talk that we wasn't going to stop until, you know, the end of justice. That's all we've been looking for was truth, and it just came with so much now, you know, so much fraud and collusion. So it's like we always had this strength, and since my mother, you know, she's not here, but she's always here with me. I feel like, you know, I got the biggest angel wings behind me, just to push forward, and it's just not energy for me. It's just like just to make sure anyone who go in the courtroom should get treated fairly. Like these, it's horrible that they even doing things like this. Honestly, we know no one's perfect, but that's at least what we go to get justice from, and we all supposed to come and look for the truth. Let's fix the problem.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was kind of moving in moving so fast, or not fast, but moving and not taking the time to process it.
Mm-hmm.
But Rymir is right, because he's strong to keep it going, whatever we need to keep going without thinking about what we need to think about, but saying, but this is crazy, but still doing what we've got to do. But I tell you, when his car got shot up and he sent me those pictures, my hands started shaking. So that when reality said, I was like, what? Because I knew, and he sent it to me early in the morning. So at the end of the day, there were some moments there that were pivotal. They were definitely vulnerable and they were scary. But by the grace of God, it's all I can account it to is God. It's something that rose up in us and helped us to keep going. Because in my mind, somewhere in the middle, even before the shots, I was done with this. I said, Lord, this ain't my battle. I'm good. I ain't got no kids. Family court crazy. We'll figure it out. And the Lord said to me, no, you don't get out the fight until I tell you to get out the fight. Do you understand? And I said, yes, sir, and kept going. That's why I'm still in the fight. Although I love my goddaughter and God's son, I'm in the fight because God told me to be in the fight, and not knowing that he had a bigger plan, a bigger picture. Because all of these, so many people, like Rymir says, has been victims of things similar to this. And now we get a chance to try to help correct it, which is why we came out with new legislation. Because we want to talk about it and be about it. Right. So we can talk about the legislation later, but nonetheless, we want to do new legislation, Legal Abuse Prevention Act, something to that nature, where it puts in guardrails for real, so that people such as Wanda Satterthwaite, a single mother who saw death and only wanted to make sure her child understood what was going on in his life and who his father was. That's all she wanted before she left, and she fought doing it. And it was like, she didn't even get to the part about her being younger, but Mr. Carter could have said, hey, let's sit down and talk about this. Rymir would have did it. Would have never even got this far. Mm-hmm. But he allowed those judges to do what they did. And it's also my belief that somebody sent us stuff saying that they were part of Mr. Carter's family. They wanted Rymir to take this stuff out of the news. And that if he don't, Carter's going to teach him a lesson, because you got to be loyal. So at the end of the day, and I said, well, look, Rymir didn't do this. His mother put it in the courts, and that's how I got out. But at the end of the day, this is some of the hurdles we had to go through over this. And it ain't been 10 years. It's been longer than that, y'all. Mm-hmm. You're talking about 2010. Yeah, you're 14 years with your mom started, and then I got involved like a year later, 2011. Yeah. But it's been great. It's been not so great. That's the story with that, and how the journey, there's been some bumps. Yeah, it's been a long journey, but it gave us growth.
Did they come after one of your properties or something? The legal vampires?
Yeah. With all of that said and done, right? A house that I worked for, a house that I love we lived in, didn't even know what's going on. went to go sell the house in December 2023, and up pops the liens. Now, they had threatened some stuff in the past, because remember, the judge said to me, we'll back then, not recent, we'll give you your legal fees back, your whatever, but they got to go, and I don't want to see them again. And I told them I can't do that. And then over time, with all these litigations, I'm trying to get money, and they wanted this to go away because this could go on forever. You can keep appealing forever. So what they started doing was talking about, we're going to put a lien on your house. We're going to do this. So I figured, okay, let me go check it out. Every now and then I'm going to go to my county and make sure nothing was on my property. And nothing was on my property. Make a long story short, went to go sell the house in December 23. And lo and behold, almost at the settlement table, they bring me these fraudulent liens that they put on my property that they snuck into a system that nobody even heard of. Because remember, one of the attorneys works for a real estate firm doing family business, Kenneth L. Winters. So here we had these illegal liens that were obtained by fraud based on you lying to the courts about your client's minimum contacts with the state of New Jersey or the property owner.
Can you just let us, how does a lien work?
This happened as a result. So as we were going through this journey of the fight, so to speak, in order for us to go away, they did some stuff to try to make Rymir go away. Yeah. And Wanda pretty much did what she needed to do. I was still the person standing because God had told me to keep going. So what they did with me was they figured we got to go after her property. So they started doing what we call making up manufacturing motions. They lied and said that we had given out files, we had talked to the media, we had done that. Well, even if we did, there was no gag order and no restriction on files because they're our files. So at the end of the day, they manufactured illegal motions for sanctions and turned that into attorney fees. We're owing them attorney fees.
And they were putting your house up to pay those attorney fees.
Well, they were putting it on the property, but at the time I didn't know it. And that's when I went to go sell it, it popped up as sanctions, illegal sanctions for attorney fees. Now you want me to pay you attorney fees for false stuff, the stuff that never happened, a gag order that don't exist, and then you lied to get us here on jurisdiction of your client. That's the beginning. That's called the fraud from the beginning. And once you had fraud from the beginning, it dictates or touches everything it touches, it kills. So yeah, they put the liens on the property, real estate, and didn't know it was there. But the township, the state rather, whenever they're going to actually attach the lien, they're supposed to let you come into the state forum, so to speak, it's in the capital, if you will, and you get one more time to plead your case and say why these liens don't supposed to go on, and then they make a decision and put it on. Well, the lawyer did it anyway. They never sent me nothing. They never told me nothing. They just did it. So this is part of the problem. The culture and some of the people that's involved, friends and in their same faith situation, faith circles, doing things illegally with the law. So I found that out. And then, like a long story short, I tried to go to district court to get a restraining order to stop it, but I couldn't. So now I got the attorney general to get some of my money back, but I didn't get all of it. And basically what they did was they took some of the money from this illegal liens, and then they tried to take more, meaning the attorneys, and this money was supposed to be paid for on behalf of Carter. Now, the one attorney who lied about Mr. Carter's properties, she was the one getting the check, but then she thought about it, and she decided not to do it, take the check. She took the check, but she wouldn't cash it. She gave it to the other person, the other attorney, and he cashed it. So that's how the liens came about, from fraudulent sanctions of allegations that never occurred, a gag order that don't exist at all, and then you never did anything in the past.
Yeah, it's all, this is crazy.
What's the story about the lies about Mr. Carter's property?
Okay, so I don't know. I didn't know how much you knew, but from the property stuff in 2012, we obviously, when I had gotten custody of Rymir, legal custody of him in 2011, and sought to get paternity closure, as like his mother did, because she had gotten real sick. And then in 2012, I actually filed, and then his attorney, Lisa Fisher, who was married to the guy in Philadelphia, Ned Hart, he sent his wife over the bridge, so to speak, because he didn't have a license to keep this blockage going. And she comes into court and says her client had no ties with the state of New Jersey, no legal ties in terms of properties. Now here I had several properties and I had to submit to this court, but Mr. Carter did not. As a result of that false information, I lost that case. And then whenever somebody doesn't tell the truth, and you can prove that, which I did later, but they wouldn't go through the litigation to adjudicate it. So once he lied, and then I brought the information back in, the attorney lied. I brought the information back into the court to show them that it was false. That at that point, the court was supposed to reconcile and do something with the record. They did nothing. And this continual type of behavior of shielding Mr. Carter in regard to his property holdings continued on throughout the whole entire 14 years because we kept bringing it up. But in between all that, they were doing the liens, not knowing it because it wasn't done correctly. And then right at the end, when in 2023, I went to go sell the property, and that's when it popped up. So Mr. Carter, attorney, came into the court in 2012 and misrepresented his property holdings with the state of New Jersey. When you say, I have a case, or if somebody submits a case to the court, in this case, we were trying to do paternity and or child support or college in regard to the situation with Rymir. And Mr. Carter and his attorney, when he didn't come in, his attorney came in and said that he had no property holdings, no ties to the state, etc. Now, at this time, he actually owned, I think, the Nets, or was a partial owner. But between that and his properties, the state of New Jersey absolutely had the authority to ask him a question. Are you Rymir's father? Are these your properties? And that's what happens when when a court doesn't have jurisdiction, you'll be like, you don't have jurisdiction, you can't talk to me. You can't ask me nothing. So that's what happened. And as a result of that, I lost the case on behalf of Rymir. And that was, I had an attorney, because my attorney took the information from Carter's attorney. We relied upon it. We used it for our own information until we became aware that the information was false, which was like a few months later. And this continued on for the whole 14 years. We kept saying, there's fraud, you can't do this, there's fraud. They wouldn't do it, they wouldn't listen.
No discoveries or nothing. I just
right.
They wanted
they wouldn't do a discovery. Because whenever there's a disputed facts, all you need to do is just go to an evidentiary hearing discovery. Okay, if he says it's not his properties and you say they are, let's do a discovery. They wouldn't do it. They didn't want to know the truth. They didn't want to adjudicate it because a pre-motion is not a hearing. It's just a smell test. And then if you don't pass the smell test, you don't go to the next level. In our case, we had deeds, certified deeds with the raised seal from New Jersey. You had to pay extra money for that, and tax records with New Jersey seal on it. But they wouldn't take the time to search out the truth.
It's great.
And here we are.
Wow.
So that's what happened with that. So that particular fraud continued on because I kept it going to keep it in the record. And then one of the judges in there told me to go for the civil law for the damages. So then we're in two forums, family and civil. And while in civil, they did the same playbook. So now you kept the thing going, which we call continuous violations. So somewhere in that was in 2015, and then it just kept going and it just snowballed because they knew that everything they did, if it wasn't going to be under the law, and they were dragging us in court too from foolishness, that we were going to appeal it. So that's what I did. I appealed everything until they started blocking me. They were blocking me. They wouldn't let me appeal. And they would take my money for the $250 for the filing. They would take the money for getting a produced record. Never got a file. It was a circus. I mean, living and through this and seeing what happened, it's almost embarrassing to say this happened in America for a system we pay taxes towards. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I say, Grandma. But you got to keep the faith. But yeah, this needs to get fixed. Honestly, we need to fix the problem.
So, from what you just said, then, are you saying that it's a case of legal jurisdictions? By disowning his properties in that state, he can't go through that court. Is that what?
Right. By saying he don't have it, or what happens is he said those properties were not his. So the court can say, okay, no problem. The court is in search of the truth. Let's do a discovery. Because we could have subpoenaed the accounting firm that was doing the taxes, and then he would have had to sign an affidavit said, Sean Carter, these properties are not mine. No problem. It's called like a discovery you do when you go to court. That discovery is a big deal. Or do they call it? Yeah, I think it's discovery when you're in deposition. That's what I'm trying to say. So deposition is a big deal, but discovery is done on the smaller scale for a smaller court or evidentiary hearing. And basically what it is, it's disputed facts. You say one thing, I say another. Now we're going to figure it out. Now, the judge back then, he did tell us, one of the judges, to get the case, the information of their case or their complaint thrown out based on personal jurisdiction. So it's on record.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, again, if the court is not going to follow out their own law, their own rules,
right,
who will? So I was the last person standing, and the way for them to get rid of me was to go after my property, which at the time I wasn't aware of, but also to get me out of the appeal process, because the appeal process, they were holding stuff 2 and 3 years. It was hoping that the statute of limitation would lapse, but with fraud, it doesn't. The law is on our side. My mother always told us, follow the law. She said it's designed to work.
right.
That's why people are trying to break it and bend it. She says, but you, and you. She pointed to her children. And I never forget this. She says, follow it. It's designed to work. She was right. That's why they were fighting us so hard. And I'm thinking, this is the court. But at the end of the day, they act like Mr. Carter and other people were doing things for them, and sometimes they got lax. Like one of his attorneys said it. He said that they paid good money for those court orders. That's what he said. We were in the court, outside the courtroom, because they started getting arrogant and obnoxious. But at the end of the day, it's all good, because we believe, in spite of all of this, justice will be served.
Yeah.
And we
That's
might
that
not
energy I love right there.
in court. Yeah, we might not see a complete day in court, but justice is going to be served. Rymir's paternity, for the record, has never been adjudicated. The case that we're doing now is not a paternity case, everybody. It is a fraud case, because fraud was used to block the paternity issues. Now, at that time, if Rymir wants to do something paternity, that'll be his decision. I'm done with paternity.
It's been a crazy fight.
I'm dealing with the fraud, because the fraud stopped me and him from getting justice.
With anything.
We want to be able to go into any court in any circumstance would do a fair due process and not worry. We had what our situation was procedure. Procedure. The court didn't follow their own rules.
Wow.
So with the liens then, the money that you lost through the liens, were you able to retrieve that?
Some of the money I got back through my attorney general, because by the grace of God, we're in Philadelphia now. A whole nother ball game.
Yeah.
Jersey's a very corrupt state. So some of the money I got back, and some they're still working on. The good thing about this, and this is for young people that's listening, doing the wrong thing is you got to keep on doing the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
And in their case, that's what they did. They started doing the wrong thing, and now they got to keep it going. And when they did and cashed those checks, now they opened themselves up to the banking commission to look, which is a whole nother ball game. So it never gets better if you don't do the right thing. Do the right thing and let the law do what it's going to do. Because when you go against it, you're going to have problems. Especially, you don't know who you're in a fight with. And the people that's in a fight and they want to do a fight clean. And then I'm a spiritual person. I'm a minister of the gospel. I have a high call. So at the end of the day, I realized what God called me to do in my full capacity, and in this regard with the systems, because every system, and I believe, my belief, submits to the heavenly system. So therefore, if you're doing what's right, we believe that God will give you favor because God loves justice. That's what we believe. So at the end of the day, here we are. But some of the money I got back and some of them I did not. But the banking industry is now looking into it, which is good for us.
Do you think it's a case of they have so much money that if they get caught out here and there and get fined here and there, it's meaningless to them? So they'll just keep doing these corrupt things?
Honestly, we couldn't say we couldn't, say it, but honestly, we would any person with, a lot of money, like they're wealthy, they got more wealth than others. So it's like I would think that, you tend to use your power and wealth sometimes, a little more than others. So
yeah, that's true.
It's like, sometimes you just gotta fix yourself with it. Got to be a self thing that you gotta fix, because the money can take you somewhere else and have you doing the wrong thing. So it's like, and when you got so much of it, it tends to have people like, I can get whatever I want, like, I can do whatever I want. And I'm not saying that's for all with people with money, because some people do great things with it, but for the people that tend to lose themselves and just let the money rule them, that's, please, y'all gotta find yourself. And if y'all too far gone, I'm sorry.
Your money is a tool. It should never have something where it overtakes you. And I think looking at this case with Mr. Tony Busby shows me that this is obviously bigger than money. And now it looks like it's for egos in some regards.
Mm-hmm.
And then also being embarrassed. So they see that what they've done, their actions is catching up with them. Because in our lives, you reap what you sow. Even if you're not a spiritual person, you keep living, something gonna happen. So I think they're having an aha moment, and they're growing up. Because getting older is easy, but growing up is different. You need to know how to take care, like he said, take care of yourself, saying something to yourself in regard to bettering yourself. So I think in this regard, they are seeing that the money ain't doing it. Your public ain't buying it. That character and a self-worth and respect is better expensive and better worth, I should say, than anything else. You want respect. And if you don't have the respect from your fans and your people, then what do you have? And now you are not being an example. That's why I want my godson Rymir to be an example. I'm saying, be an example. Make your mother proud. Make yourself proud. Be yourself, authentic. Because Rymir used to think I couldn't. He said I can't do it. You're not living up to somebody else. You being who you are. And I think he's done a great job under the circumstances that he's been under. And that's what matters.
Right about that.
Rymir's got the best energy in the world, and it resonates, and everyone who's watching, it's just all love and support coming in.
Yeah, that's the energy I want to give off to everybody. When you see somebody else, just the energy to smile sometimes. A lot of people frown and think about all the negativity they probably be going through with their life, but a smile and just the energy burst help a lot. Honestly, it helps me every day. Wake up to see somebody else smile. I'll try to give them off myself just to have, seeing a frowning face, even if they don't smile back, walk past, that guy was just cheesing and smiling at me. So, but it'd probably be funny or just make them laugh or something, but just change the energy.
Did you end up connecting with Busby after the last podcast?
We reached out. We did get some. We did contact you back then. He got mine.
Yeah, I think that with that situation, we're not sure because you got to deal with the time frame stuff.
Okay.
Now he has been so busy, so we've been trying to let him fight some of his battles he got out there. But yeah, we have talked to his office where we have not figured out what we're going to be doing, because there's a couple directions we probably could go and do. We do have some irons in the fire right now, and we were already going to do what we were going to do. We were going to do this before this even came out. So now it's just a matter of how we unfold it or roll it out. So we're taken one day at a time, talking to the same people we had before and being strategic. Because like Rymir said, this is not about tick for tack or to get somebody back. This is about
just chasing someone. We honestly, we just want the truth, So we live in our everyday lives. We go to work. We work hard. Like, God, Mom, you work super hard. I work hard, so it's like we putting in the work. You know, we spending time with the community. We giving back to the kids. Like that's all we want to do is give positivity away. You know, no one's perfect. You know, we got flaws too, but I've been through so much. I just feel like at this point is just be happy. I don't want to die like sad or angry at anyone. So I just be happy, honestly.
And
Dr. Lil.
look at Deborah's name. I mean, Deborah's comment. Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Of course, go ahead.
I was going to say, thank you for your comment, Deborah.
Yeah, thank you, Deborah. Appreciate you. Love you too. Love the energy.
Yeah,
Thank you guys for all y'all support.
She's asking how does the family and we managed our moments together. Well, Rymir makes sure that happens. You know, he's a fun guy.
I'm
so
around.
the thing about Rymir, he works very hard, but he likes to play. So he'll make me go on vacation and with him and all this other kind of stuff. So it's good to have somebody like him grounded that you know how to pull away and enjoy your life, enjoy the moment, and understand this is a part of the journey, not your life. So at the end of the day, you don't like things that happen, but you realize this is part of it. These are some of the things that are going to work itself out as we grow older and get wiser. That's what we believe.
Mm-hmm.
And your music, that must be something that helps you, Rymir.
Yeah, it does. It really like I'm a big music, so I listen to all types of music. I actually do music. I haven't been doing as much music as I attended to that I want, but I love music, so I listen to music every day, all types. It's just I love the different sounds and different energy, and just it connects me to something different. I feel like I'm just somewhere else when I'm listening to music. So yeah, I definitely love it.
We got to go to UK.
Yeah, Dr.
Yeah,
Lil.
you should.
Yeah, we got to come with you guys because Emma's over there.
Yeah, it's a couple people we do need to get out. We ain't been on, a big vacation in a couple.
Well, also your tour. You need to do a tour. We talked about touring over there at one point.
Yeah,
Rymir's got a lot of songs.
Yeah, I got to come home so we could talk more. I got to get back to the house.
Which song of yours, Rymir, should the viewers tune into, listen to? I'll put a link down there.
What the last song I put out there was Way She Moved, but I am going to be dropping some music, just some personal music that I just made over, the last couple months to last years that I haven't put out at all. It's just, I've been just keeping everything to myself, but, I've just been trying to wait, wouldn't say wait for the right time, but I perform for my family and friends. We have private shows and I'm always performing for them guys. So it's like, I'm definitely going to let you guys hear some of the songs and you just can tell me how it is. And I just respect the honest truth, That's what it is, you guys like it or you don't, but it's just it's all different types of music. So you hear me rapping, you hear me singing. I like pop, so it's definitely it's gonna be something new.
He's a comedian too.
Yeah, I'm just an all around guy, like doing it all. That's what I said, man. I've been fishing, camping. We've been trying to just do different types.
He
of stuff.
He does the camping. That's one thing I won't do.
Yeah, I've been trying to get you to go to Alaska for the last 3-4 years. You won't go with me. You said it's too cold out there.
You got to get me a cabin.
They're all asking in the chat where can they listen to your music.
Well, I do have some on some platforms. I guess Apple Music. I had them on some on YouTube. It's a couple years ago, but I promise you guys that I will be updating it. But I do have songs that I have on YouTube, Apple Music, and a couple.
Moving on. I think it's moving on. Tell him to Google his name. Can you put it in the chat or something?
What's your YouTube channel called?
I got actually I have two. I got Rymir Satterthwaite, my full name. Then I got the Moving On. What was that one guy? I forgot the name.
I'm looking at it now.
So busy. We've been so busy, honestly. We forget to look at it.
Let me see.
It says Moving On. It's his name. And it has like a lot of songs in there.
I found Rymir is here.
Yeah. Is it Moving On?
It says Rymir Satterthwaite Official.
Yeah, that's it.
Right, I'm going to put this in the chat now. And if people are watching this on replay, it's going to be in the description box. So please go and subscribe to Rymir. Here's the link.
Thank y'all guys for the support again. I appreciate y'all. I really do. Appreciate all the love.
I think Ron's got a question.
Yeah, Dr. Lil, is there a part of you, like, even in the back of your mind, with the naming of JD and Jay-Z in certain court cases that are coming up, do you feel that there's an outcome, right? Whether Jay-Z goes to trial or anything like this, if it goes the wrong way for Jay-Z, do you feel that there's any part of you that feels that he may wait for the right time to manipulate a situation to enter himself into Rymir's life? You know, to even if it was to try and alleviate some of the pressures of negative press, you know, Jay-Z reuniting with long lost son. And again, the reason that I say that in that way is we know how the media is owned over there and how headlines can be controlled. And I'm not asking you if you've thought, but is there any worry? Have you given it any thought of how he could manipulate his way with Rymir throughout all of this stuff that's going on with the court cases?
He's actually already tried that. Apparently, somebody told him before, because he knew some of this was coming down the pipe. And we're happened to be, our church is a huge church, and some of the pastors are part of the PR. So some of the stuff they hear, the buzzing, nonetheless, some of this, apparently, some of the attorneys must have said to him, who do you have to that you need to reconcile something with, blah, 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 before this stuff goes down where it's going. And I think Rymir's name came up because they came back to us telling us that they had talked to him about Rymir, and he said, oh, yeah, that's my boy. So we didn't hear it.
Yeah, we didn't hear it. This could be allegedly. It could be real. We really wouldn't know. This all coming from, you know, secret sources and people that's, you know, been reaching out to us, different phone calls. You know, I've been getting all different types of messages.
You got that afterwards, but this was before. This is before the storm came. So he just recently got that stuff, but this was before the storm. That reliable sources said that they was told what I just said, that he's my boy. And I believe, as a grown person, that they wanted to get back to Rymir because they knew it was, and him to be sympathetic. And then I told Rymir, you still have to be human about this. You don't want to be too cold or upset, whatever, angry. But at the end of the day, that's what we were told. So the answer to your question is yes, I believe that already took place. So now the question is, we're in the midst of this. And then Rymir's had some other people just recently called him last week. What's going to happen now? But at the end of the day, unfortunately, I think Mr. Carter is going to have to deal with whatever his situations is on his own.
Yeah.
So Rymir is always going to love him and respect him to some degree to what he can. But at the end of the day, you know, your stuff catches up with you. That's what all of us. So I don't know. I don't know if he's going to try to do something now. Somebody did call Rymir last week, and Rymir, you can tell him what happened.
No, yeah, I just had a phone call saying basically it was just you know, talking about, you know, we know your father or something like that, and we can get the DNA. You know, I've been getting all types of weird calls, but honestly, I just take one day at a time. Like, you know, I try to talk to everybody, even though I don't be online a lot. You know, I try to get back to all my messages and talk to everybody and like answer the questions that I feel like, you know, I can answer in the best of my ability. But you do get some weird calls, you know, people, I don't know where they get my number. I honestly been just accepting a lot of people. So I guess when they call, you know, I just picked up, and it just was, you know, they wouldn't tell their name or nothing like that. But, you know, for some reason they said, we know your father, and this been going on, you know, too long. And I don't know if it's true or not, but this is what they telling me. We know your father, this been going on too long, and we can get down to the bottom of this and such and such. I'm like, well, who are you? And they wouldn't say their name and all that. And they said they'd be contacting me back with their team.
They wanted him to sign an NDA.
Yeah, and something about an NDA, call back with their team.
Exactly.
Nobody never called back. So I was like, you know,
sign the NDA, get all the answers that you want, but you know, just you're not allowed to tell anyone. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. He's your father, but don't tell nobody.
Yeah, don't tell no one.
And you won't be doing lawsuit.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it was definitely a weird call. I don't know who was. Can't put a name on them, or it definitely was a weird call, though. I honestly tell you that. It
was an Instagram where they do his. He's got his ability to be picked up on the Instagram like a messenger. But yeah, it sounded like those investigators. So it's a lot of stuff going on, and we're hoping that the U.S. District Attorney, not attorney, but the judge, Annalisa Torres, will continue to do the great work she's doing. This is not about a side, but it is a beautiful thing to see justice, no matter who gets it. So we're hoping that she don't get sucked in and sold out for any couple dollars, because like I tell my godson all the time, you want to have your dignity.
Right.
You want to be able to go to sleep with respect for yourself, that you didn't do something to take somebody else down for a couple dollars. You know, everything you have, you want to look at that and say how you got it. It may not be picture perfect, but it ain't got to be a story that you got to put your head down. You be ashamed of how you got it.
I also feel like everything we got, we didn't get no handouts enough, and we feel we actually worked for it and actually went out there and get it. And you know, we continue to fight for the truth, and that's what it is. We just love you guys for supporting us. That's all we ask for, is like, you know, if you guys, we don't ask for nothing else but your support and your love, and that's it. Like, you know, and we'll give it back. You know, our love, me and new friends, me and new people, is always different energy around the world, that, you know, connections. And I feel like connections is one of the biggest things in the world. We connect with each other, that the world will be a better place. We, you know, walk past so many people, and people are so lost on connection and just, you know, speaking and having a conversation with somebody different. Like, you know, I just feel like we need to find ourselves and just fix a lot of problems that we got going on.
So Kim is asking whether Jay-Z and them can be charged with fraud regarding the lien on your house.
Yes, that's what the case we have now pending in district court is about. Not against Jay-Z yet, but basically we're dealing with the judges, because the judges signed the orders. And eventually, and this is another thing, if you have attorneys that are not as busy and ethical, we'll be looking for attorneys for New Jersey and or California.
Thank you.
Because of the fact that we know that some of the stuff on attorneys we had in the past colluded with the other side. One of our attorneys died. There was a lot of things that happened, but the attorney is good. Now, New Jersey is a very corrupt state, and it's been very hard to vet attorneys to work with us there, because they said that if they help us, then when they go back before the same judge or that system, it's going to be a hard time. It's a culture. So we were trying to get attorneys outside of New Jersey that have licenses to practice in New Jersey, so that we can get some help with that. Also California. So yeah, we're looking for ethical, good attorneys who can be like advocates that can help us with this whole narrative. But we are not dealing with any paternity. We're only dealing with fraud, because we never got to that issue. We're dealing with the first leg of fraud that continued on for year after year in the system that went unchecked by the judges. It's a procedure issue. And now until you get past that, you can't do nothing else. And they know that. So they tangle you up in the procedure and they weigh you down, so that with papers and motions like they're doing now, to try to make it look like it's something that is not. It's not that deep. Either you did it or you didn't. So all these other things are supposed to scare you off, but it doesn't scare people. You just do like Busby did. You just respond back with a letter and you move on.
So guys, this is Tommy, one of our co-hosts. I've got to drive 3 hours in the snow right now because I'm about to speak at school tomorrow morning. So I'm going to leave you, but Tommy's going to take my space. And hope you guys come back soon. And I wish you all the best with what you're doing. Yep. Cheers.
And thanks for having me.
Be safe.
You drive safe.
Thank you. Cheers.
Safe. Okay. Hi, Tommy.
Hey, everybody.
Hey,
How are you?
Good.
Welcome,
Good.
Tommy.
This is
Just
an honor, man. This is an honor. This is a really big deal.
Yeah.
Just before we dive in with Tommy, if you guys can please like and share, make sure you subscribe, make sure you're doing all that YouTube stuff, make sure you're leaving comments and pushing this out. I really appreciate it.
Got a lot of people online. Wow.
But yeah, Tommy, thanks for joining us, mate.
No, this is an honor. This is a big deal. You know, I did a show about you, Rymir, just the other day. It amazes me anytime somebody has the ability to make something go away like this.
Right.
And they don't. That's usually a
so right. That's what I said, Tommy. Honestly, it could have, when you can just get it taken care of. Honestly, you just get it taken care of. You don't want, especially when you're a big role model. You know, you don't want this type of stuff. I wouldn't say just to drag behind you or even be put on your name. Honestly, that's why I said I never was trying to be negative or understand people got kids and all that. So, but you know, we did everything we could in the legal world, and them guys just basically just dragged us, like, you know, through it.
It was a money machine. Transcripts $300, motions this, and then some of the attorneys went and filed stuff against their own insurance companies. Hello, everybody. This was greed.
Yeah.
So they were making money on top of money, and they had to use somebody to come into court, and it happens to be a rich client. And then, by the way, we're going to do this. And then when they got caught up in that and saw that it kept going, because we weren't going to stop, they said, oh, we got to get them out of here. They did what they could do with Rymir, and then they went after me. This is what it was all about. But by the grace of God, the law stood, and it's still standing. And that's why we're here. Other than that, we wouldn't be here. And they did it to themselves. So at the end of the day, that's why it don't pay to do the wrong thing. Because if you keep it up, keep doing the wrong thing too long, it's gonna catch up with you.
No, seriously. I can tell you right now, if I do the wrong thing, you'll definitely get.
We won't even see you no more.
Right.
Well, you know, I think this has probably got a lot to do. Honestly, there's if you spend all day long talking about these cases, there's been a shift in how your dad is being treated by a lot of people in this world. There's a lot of people that seem to have had kind of a hands-off policy where, no one, even TMZ, nobody says anything about your dad that's negative. And there's been a shift in the last 2 weeks of people that are kept finally saying things like, you know what, this is jacked up. And, the fact that, there's already been one of these cases that, at least it's pretty much etched in stone how we know that the first one came out. He may still be out there denying it, but the rest of the world knows that there's already been one paternity case where he was allegedly not careful enough to make sure he didn't pick up something that they could get a little DNA off of. I would imagine that it's just a matter of time before that happens in this case again. And my hat is off to you, no lie, for the class it takes to get through something like this.
I appreciate this is, man. You guys' energy all helped me throughout the years. I promise you that. I did it like, I felt I had like a worldly family, like, everybody from the world with all this different energy, help from my godmom, family, friends, just people just definitely kept me moving forward. And I just wanted to do great so I can give back to the community. That's the whole thing. I've seen so many people that was just unfortunate to have so much. And, I felt like, I didn't have so much, but I had enough, and I just feel like I just want to give back and do the best I can. So, I just been moving around, as I said, working with kids, giving back to the community, and I look to grow from this and continue to do big things. Like, me and Godmom always talk. I'm looking at, restaurants. We talking big things, and it's not just for us. It's for the community. We want to build buildings, so it shouldn't be all these homeless, veterans just sleeping outside, and just like it's a lot that we need to change and just open our eyes and just help out with the little things, because we can't say we don't have the funds. The federal government makes this is paper, honestly, and I feel like we can do a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the world has been like a surrogate for him. So it worked out. It just goes to show you, when you put the right energy in, it comes out. Life ain't perfect and takes one day at a time. But if you're consistent in your positivity, it just works out. That's just the way it's been set up. So at the end of the day, I'm able to sit back and watch the evolution and the evolving of myself and my godson from where he was to where he is. And I'm grateful that was able to keep it together, because he's just like his mother, and me and his mama was tight. Mm-hmm. So it's unfortunate that she's not here, but I feel like I still have her, because he fight like she was quiet, but she had a quiet strength. And when she opened her mouth, she said something. So at the end of the day, I'm just thankful that Rymir is leaving a legacy for himself and his family, so that it can be something he can respect. But I'm unable to see him evolve, and people such as yourself have been taking him under your wing and saying things to him. These things, people have no idea how good they've been for Rymir, because when this first broke in 2015, really broke, they were nasty out there.
Yeah,
they were crazy.
It was crazy.
Yep.
We had to pray with Rymir. We had to talk to him. We had to encourage him, and he knew how to do it. He shook it off, and he handled it in the way he could. So at the end of the day, I'm just grateful to see the evolution, that you can't give up on people or circumstances and situations, because in due time, things will get better. You got to speak.
Yeah, Grandma, you talking this positivity. I'm a Cancer. You got me all emotional. God damn.
That's okay.
We gotta talk privately when we do that. Come on, man.
I'm a Cancer too. You're good.
I feel like I'm with family, right? So I'm just, because
July 3rd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are good people, and we know, you can tell by their people, and there's always going to be people that's mean and nasty. That just comes with the territory. So we got to, encourage them and try to think positive too, because you don't know why they're doing what they're doing. We want everybody to be the best they could be from the top down, no matter who they are. And we wish that we could just follow the system. We know life ain't perfect, but if it's a grown person's problem and you got a lot of money and a lot of this, then let's fix it.
Okay.
I mean, come on, y'all. So
easy money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, should be simple. It really honestly should be simple. It's crazy too. The perspective, and Dr. Lowe, you're fantastic. But when I was talking to my fiance about this, because we were out on a road trip, and I got the call that said, could you come on today? And I was telling her a little bit about Rymir and everything that was going on, and her response, I said, he's had nothing to do with Rymir in his entire life. And my fiance went, wow, that's fortunate, isn't it? And I'm sorry, but if you look at what's going on right now, the nature versus nurture aspect to this, right? You're thank God, and probably a lot of help from Dr. Lil and from some miracles, but you're a fine man. You know what I mean? That's a statement, right?
It took some time and a lot of growing, but I'm definitely.
Well, they wanted Rymir in the very beginning. Remember that, Rymir? They wanted Rymir in the very beginning. Well, before it got crazy. And thankfully,
I'm glad things went how it went. We still here to fight, and that's how I said it's bigger than me, y'all. So I appreciate all y'all love and support, but this was always bigger than me. I feel like this fight was bigger than me, and it was for a more, just the change. We want to change something now, we got to change it now, because we can't let the courts and lawyers and all this craziness continue to do what they want with nobody. I don't feel like nobody should have to go through none of this. So yeah,
and you should have to pay taxes for corruption.
Yeah,
I mean, might as well just start driving through the red lights. Everybody do what they want.
Seriously, like this is wild. It's definitely wild. I say that.
Come on, now we gotta find a way. But they wanted Rymir in the very beginning. They talked about bringing Rymir on the label. And he still was in high school, and I'm glad we decided not to do it.
It was a lot of crazy. There's a lot of crazy talk, and that's what I'm saying.
But
I hope y'all support us. You can continue to support us. Whatever we do, with y'all support, it's like we can do it. I promise you that, and we will.
Yeah, I think the community is 100% behind you, Rymir and Dr. Lil. And on the subject of the community, there's been a lot of questions. If you'd like to take some questions from the community, in side chat, just keep putting your 3 Qs beside your question, and I will get to as many of them as we can. And obviously, Tommy, if you can interject in between each question too, as well, mind you.
Sure.
But here's one here. Has Rymir ever tried to contact Blue Ivy or any other Jay's family members? I'm sure B will probably have her own questions regarding DNA or proof of paternity. Jay should be proud to claim him. But yeah, have you ever reached out to any of the other
I feel like when we reached out to we did reach out to some family members. I think we tried to reach out to his mom, and I never reached out to Blue Ivy because I don't really try to interrupt with just like interrupt and just I feel like that shit, if that's going to happen, it'll happen down the line. I'm always going to be loving, supporting, so it's like nothing going to change about me. But I just feel like I also want to make sure I'm doing the correct thing and make sure I'm not just jumping the gun. So I just leave that into God's hands. But I would definitely, if everything, I would love to talk to her. I would love to talk to all of them. There's no hate in my body.
No, for sure.
Yeah, the son over there in Trinidad reached out a long time ago.
Oh wow, okay.
It didn't materialize because it was blocked.
Okay. All right. Dr. Lil, if he gave his DNA for this case, would that sample suffice with proving others or disproving other claims too? Or do they do blood tests for different paternities?
I don't know.
All right, so he gave DNA already back in 20. Keep the question on so I can make sure I don't miss nothing.
Yeah, no. Of course I will do.
Because she got it packed in there. So the DNA was given back in 2011 to the defense or Mr. Carter's attorneys. And at that time, even before that, the mother had did the 2 men she had in question, and the other man was eliminated. So that disproved him as not being the father. They don't do blood tests in New Jersey. Now, the thing with the DNA,
Where's
you
the
have to
yard
get
at?
to a paternity issue, and we never got to it. So for Rymir to get closure just on paternity and not college support or any type of support, that's what we were going after. And we were going to just say, look, let's give the paternity closure for him and then go from there. But based on their actions, the state of New Jersey says that if the parent who is proclaimed to be, if the parent does not want to take the DNA, in the New Jersey's law, they are considered the presumptive parent.
Okay.
So Rymir at that point was able to go around and say Jay-Z was his father, but he just chose not to because Jay-Z would have to prove he's not the father. But some young people will say it and some won't. Like that kid that said with Carter. He said, Carter's my father. Not Carter. What's it? Clinton. Clinton's my father. Clinton's my father. And Clinton would have had to prove he wasn't. So in New Jersey, there's a DNA. They had the DNA since 2011. And then the defendants had the DNA. And then we did do family members. We asked his mother, Carter's mother. We had other people just to bring that to closure. We also did the ancestry. His half-sister was in there. When she got her DNA done, it was at a right time where Carter's account was not private. So she get in there through the cousin, and she gets connected to Carter's grandmother, which links her to him. And that's how she got out and said what she said. The time we got in there, it was closed. But when we were trying to do her, it got stopped because she was probably told by him or his people to shut it down. So I think Rymir in his heart knows the closure for him, although he wants something more concrete. But at the end of the day, that's the story with that.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Lil. I've got another one here for you. Also, Tommy, can you see the live chat at the side of the stream?
I can.
Can you star any of the triple Q questions? Because I can't see the live stream when I'm looking at the questions, if that's okay for me.
Yeah, I think I can do that.
Thank you, brother. Okay, here's the next one. Do you think with your new lawsuit against New Jersey court and judges, if you win, it will make them have to reverse the old decisions into Rymir's favor, which could end in Jay-Z giving DNA?
Right. And I know who that is. I can't think of her name. That's Kadisha Lynn. Thank you for your question. The new lawsuit is only about the actions of the court. And yes, we want that first order that was obtained by fraud to be voided. It is really a vacated order. It's a void order. So whether we reverse it or not, it's still fraud because we can prove 100% that he had properties, that the information that was provided was false. So once that happens and we actually get to that second leg, so to speak, they won't have really a choice to void that order. They have to under the law. And then that will end. At that point, you can retroact back to that date and go back to my original intent was to establish paternity. So at that point, the judge may say, well, what do you want to do now? Do you want to still paternity test? And I'm going to turn to Rymir and say, what do you want to do? Because for me, I'm done. I'm done with paternity. I'm not going to say I don't care, but I don't care because I already know, but that's his closure. I want to make sure this other stuff, that void order that they obtained by fraud that they used for all these years it's vacated, and they can't go somewhere else and do something like they've been doing and putting liens on people's properties. So they're using a fraudulent order, an order obtained by fraud for money to gain. But yeah, that order, once it's turned over, once that vacated order is already vacated by the fraud, once it's voided and blurred off the system, off the record, then we'll be right back at square one. Okay. But they can retroact whatever your intended purpose was back to that date if you so choose, but you have to make that decision at that time.
Right, I'm with you. Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's this is from Sharon Clark. Are the FBI going to help get DNA? I don't know if the FBI will get involved.
They only deal with cross-state crimes. So Lisa Fisher and her husband cross state with this fraud. That's what they need to be looking at. They are looking at attorney misconduct for the 4th time. We follow things 4 times. But now that all this is happening, it's changed. So now we believe we're finally going to get justice. Because why? We didn't give up. And I'm just saying this. We did this before this allegation of the 13-year-old. We were going to finish our story regardless, but it just so happened all things came together in timing. And we're very grateful for that.
Right, let me just bring Rymir back in. How you doing? Welcome back, Rymir. Can we hear you? You're muted, Rymir.
I'm sorry about that. I said my phone died. I had to go find a charger.
Yeah, that's all right, man. Don't worry.
And before we get too rolling, one of the other things that's coming up in the side chat here a lot is people who are asking about whether or not they can donate to Rymir if he's got a Cash App or if he's got anything like that. So I don't know how you feel about putting that out there, but while you were gone, that's what a lot of the people in the chat were asking about. So
no, I really appreciate you guys for that. No one's a deny, funds from money. I definitely use it for the right things, the community and my kids and all. I definitely been spending a lot and using a lot, but I appreciate anything you guys can give, and that's really from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate that. So I definitely leave a link, and that's just up to you guys. Whatever you want to leave, you don't have to leave anything.
I can actually put your Cash App directly under your name if you.
I'm not sure we should do it that way, Rymir.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. No problem. You listen to.
I'm thinking
we'll talk and we'll definitely give you guys a link. We just want to make sure we're doing everything, correctly.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
We can get an attorney to take the money, and then that way,
it's
either
not
legal fees or whatever. We just want to be clear on why they're giving it. They're just giving a donation. That's fine.
Yep.
But we got to be careful with that.
I tell you what we can do then is if you want to set that up, Dr. Little, and then let us know, we'll do a night where we can do a fundraiser or something like that for Rymir, and then it's all done in a
way account or something. Yeah,
well, whatever you're comfortable with, because I know the community do like to help where they can, and
right. And I appreciate you guys.
That would be helpful.
We've got some incredibly generous community members, and rather than it just being a passing thought, you get that set up, Dr. Lil, in a way that you're comfortable, and then we'll revisit that, because it's always good to give people the chance to support when they ask for it, for sure.
Right, and if you can get, maybe we can get their information now, whoever that person is, they want to send you something.
Oh, there was a bunch
of the name or something.
Yeah.
What was it?
There's a bunch of
them there. So we're definitely this stuff we haven't talked about, guys. That's why we just wanted to make sure we was doing it the correct way. We haven't taken money from anyone. So it's like, now that you guys, this is the first time we're hearing this question, and we honestly really thank you guys for even wanting to support us and give us something. We've been through the ups and downs, but we continue to fight, and we just want to make sure we just doing it the correct way, because we don't want to be in court for something, people saying, oh, you use this person name or all different types of stuff.
No, that's a good point.
They've already done that. Yeah, they've done that in the past. Lisa Fisher has.
Yeah,
okay.
So,
officially, just in case anyone's playing this back, that was our idea, not Rymir's or Dr. Lil's. It was a side chat suggestion. In no way, shape, or form were they requesting any form of donations or funding. It was simply an internet culture thing where the side chat.
I love him for doing that, man.
You're safe. The bank robber brought it up. You got nothing to worry about.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe sometimes these guys will look for any little thing they can run off.
No, man, no. It's internet culture. People like throwing money at faces on the television,
which is beautiful, phones. And he'll take it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So
yeah. So yeah, that's awesome. And like I say, we will make sure you get that opportunity. Okay, here's an interesting one, right? So my question is, can that Carter man take this one test and fight against the ulterior claims without giving another sample, since his blood would be in the data bank? So I guess to break that down is, if Jay-Z's DNA was already in the system for whatever reason, can that DNA then be used for paternity reasons or such as that? Is that? I think that's what Lady Warrior is saying.
No, that's actually a great question. I mean,
you can't use it in court.
You can't use it.
No, you won't be able to use it in a court of law. Excuse me, Rymir. You can use it for your own purposes, but you can't use it in a court of law. In the court of law, there's a chain of custody, and they have their own people that do what they do with DNA, because that's a big business. and also
Sure.
people do hanky-panky. So they have to have a chain of custody. Who picks up the sample? Who gives the sample? Got to make sure it's the right people, because you had people in the past that would have their cousin go. So you have to have a lot of different things that are done, especially with a high profile like this. So the answer would be no for the legal purposes. For personal purposes, fine. You can do whatever you want. Because this DNA is out there.
Yeah,
He's been in the jail. He's done quite a few things. So his DNA is out there.
They are dodging this.
Right. So
like the
our thing
Matrix.
is, it's a bigger picture because of Wanda's age.
Oh, yeah, undoubtedly. Undoubtedly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next question is where are we? Okay. Dr. Lil, do you all have a good attorney now?
Yes and no.
Okay.
We have attorneys that help us behind the scene.
Yeah.
We have a legal clinic with our church. There are some attorneys reluctant to becoming public for different areas, even before this.
Yeah, they just, I guess attorneys just don't want to just say we're the attorney on this case, or I don't know if they feel like, they probably wouldn't get another job. I don't know. I'm not in the legal. Yeah, but I guess when you go against certain people, you get less, and that's with every job. I guess it's what, because I was watching a little model thing, and I guess people really get you in some good spots, and so it's like all this friendship. It goes a long way. Yeah. We don't know who's friends. We don't know who knows each other, and it's like so.
But if you know any good attorneys, please send them my way. That would be really good.
We would love to have a great attorney,
Sure.
We've been taking all the notes from the people that have been helping us. But if you guys know someone that we don't know,
that's willing to go to court.
Yeah,
somebody's willing, because we have attorneys now, but we need people that will be willing to go to court and is capable. Okay. So sometimes the defense will send you attorneys, and you don't know who they are. Got to be careful. Now, Jay-Z in Philadelphia, he was paying my attorney, who returned on me, and his attorney. So he was paying the defense and the plaintiff and the defense. So you got to be careful, because my attorney turned on us. He was neighbors with the other attorney, Ned Hart. He told me, I didn't care.
They wound up having lunch and all that extra stuff.
Yeah, they could have dinner too. But at the end of the day, do the case right.
Right.
And that's where the lines cross, where that friendship and whatever else was going on didn't fly. And I was $5,000 in the hole. Yeah, but that's another story. That started in Philadelphia. So like I said, the fraud started in Philadelphia, and it just led on right into New Jersey.
Yes, continuous
effect. It's been a mess.
Yeah, it sounds it. It really does. Like we actually have quite a lot of legal friends of the channel and lawyers of the channel, and I'm imagining once word gets out through them, they must have some suggestions they'll be able to put your way for sure.
It's a frightening proposition, though, when you're coming up against somebody that is, first of all, just litigious as hell, right? This is a person that's not at all afraid to hire attorneys at the drop of a hat, right? And when you got $2,400 million laying around your bank account, right? This is $2.4 billion. Right? Buzzsaw, right? All joking aside, it's a buzzsaw. This fool right now, with no disrespect to Dad, but this guy right now, you're seeing how he deals with accusations against him, right? Yeah. I'm not going to talk about the accusation. I'm going to thrash the attorney that's doing this. And that kind of lesson, that kind of crap scares attorneys. Like you go in and go, hey, I got a paternity test. It's pretty standard stuff. They go, sure, I'd love it. Yeah, no problem. We handle those all the time. Yeah, it's Sean Carter. Yeah, have a good day. Right? Get out of my office. Because you're not just going in there to represent your client. You're going in there to have them talk about what you did when you were 18 with somebody in college. Because these are people that are going to tear through your entire life because they don't want to talk about this issue. If they wanted to talk about the issue, he could open his mouth and let a swab go in there and be done in about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the same thing we said, and you got to be correct. And honestly, at this point, that's why I just been living my life, and with all you guys' support, like it's just been helping me live. Like honestly, because we don't know what to expect from them now, and honestly, everything that's been going on, it's like honestly scary to even trust any of these these
It is.
sites or
You
these
don't know who you're
courtrooms.
getting.
Yeah, we don't know what they doing behind closed doors, honestly. And I'm not saying that for everyone. It is, as I said before, it is great judges and great lawyers and people who really love doing their job, but we can't sit here and act like everyone's perfect. That we
No.
elect few judges and lawyers and these guys all got it honestly. And come on, it's just like you will be lying to yourself. So let's just all open our eyes and fix the problem.
Right. So
Yeah.
somebody like Busby is part of that. And that's why we got to encourage, send good energy towards their way and Judge Torres, because somebody has to be an example and fight the fight. Because like he said, it doesn't take much to do this. If we win the lawsuit on fraud, would the judge also have to give a new decision siding with Rymir being granted Z the DNA?
We would think so.
Fraud, we will get that. It will be turned over once it goes to district court, and if they follow the law is on our side. It'll 100% be turned over to this fraud thing. Then at that point, they'll probably turn to us and say, "Do you want the DNA?" Because that was the original intended purpose.
Yes.
And at that point, and probably only that point, Rymir can make a decision. Do you want to do it? So he can, from that point, I told you from my perspective, because I brought the lawsuit, I don't really care, but it's totally up to him because that's his closure, and I would never get involved with it. But because of all the shenanigans,
we just grew over so many years. We just lost a little faith, but we never lost all the faith. But we here to fight.
I want the system. I need the system to work.
Right.
So procedurally, when that procedure stuff is done and they void this vacated order and we get that day in court, and then that's all smoke and clear is gone, then that particular lawsuit that we originally did by law, we should be able to go back in time, because we're going to go back in time to vacate it. And then we should be able to get what the option was that was on the table originally. That's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, because it's basically it's blocked with fraud. So like my guy mom said, you got to get through the fraud first. And
do you think the fraud pile has pushed this into a realm where they just can't let you ever win? Do you think there's too much?
We thought about that. That's why we thought about that before, and it could be that, but we wouldn't honestly know. We just here to.
I think it's absolutely that. Yeah, I think it's absolutely that. In my opinion, Rymir, because that's what they've been doing the whole time. Is that they? One of the lawyers said that he couldn't get his name out there with.
It's crazy.
So, yeah.
Well, if that's the case, we just going to continue to fight and I'm not going to say we fight this forever, but if the law is not, if they're not trying to look for the truth, we'll continue with our life and continue to do great things and continue to keep helping the community. As I said, this was never just against chasing one person. Only thing I wanted was the truth from, that person, from the courts, from everyone who was involved with the case. And it just seemed like, it's so many years, it's just so many years ago now that we still fighting this, and it's just like it took a toll on me. But I'm in a great space right now, and I don't want to lose none of my energy with just thinking about the case all day and just focusing on what could be or what it is. So I just go on and just push forward because I know that God got me, and I know I'm gonna do great things. And I got y'all guys' support, so it's no way in the world I can't, be successful. I've been successful. I went to college, got, high school diploma, working a great job, driving a great car. And I appreciate everything. And that's just from me working. And I feel like everyone should just appreciate what they got. And if money come out the deal or people can help you, I feel like if you're doing that from the heart, of course, somebody, I would take it from the heart, because if I was giving something to you guys, it would just come from the heart. I'm not looking for it. I don't look for you guys to give it to me back, or it didn't come for so I can talk about what I gave you. Everything from me comes from the heart. So anything from anyone should come from the heart.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You know what? 2025, man, at 2.4 billion or 2.8 billion in the bank is a big deal, and it seems like one of those things that's almost insurmountable when you got to fight like that. But this levels the entire world. Honest to God, right? We live in a time that's so different. Your story is going to get to a completely new level that by, again, the grace of God, I think Cat Williams said it best, right? Nothing's going to be hidden when this is all over. and you're a huge part of this story because
Yeah.
it goes. I'm sorry, but it really does go to what we've been talking about now for so long, the evilness in that comes out of this industry. I mean, I lived a wilder life at one point, and I remember a time when someone came to me and said, "Hey, pretty sure this is your kid," and I was a degenerate, and my response was a hell of a lot different than the one you're getting. I mean, all right, it is what it is, right? What do I got to
Right. That's how,
do?
man. That's how you should look at it. I feel like if it's nothing and you don't, if it's nothing, you should just take it. Especially if you know if it's not true. Honestly, this is having this on your name and just continuing to have this on your name, man. I will, I don't look to stress anybody. That's why I haven't been trying to just do interviews. You guys always hear me say, I'm not looking to pull no one. They do that to themselves. I feel like whatever you do to yourself it will come back to haunt you if you do some bad things. If you do anything, in the dark, it will come to the light. But I was never the person just looking to drag you down. But if you did all this negativity, that's what you're gonna get back. And I honestly
Yeah.
just want the world to see this. We don't want to make these mistakes because we have money and we have power. Like we should be doing different things, helping out with the community, spending time with family, not even just family members, friends, and just growing as the growing as one. Like we all should be growing and helping each other out instead of trying to pull each other down and hiding things. That's crazy to me. We don't even know. We can't even trust friends and all that because they might be hiding secrets that they knew for years and years and never
Yeah.
just wanted to come out and fix the problem. Like it's friends that probably know about it, or it's like. And I'm not just talking about Jay-Z. I'm just talking about people in the world. We all have people that we know that got their own secrets that they didn't talk to people and said we're going to keep this a secret, and that we've been friends for years, we never want to tell
Yeah.
nobody, and we got these secret cults, and I wouldn't say cults but gangs and
Other people's
units and
demons
different.
coming back to bite you, Rymir,
Mm,
is the one.
yep.
For sure. For
And
sure.
live in color, right?
Seriously, but as I said, man, I move with energy, and I feel like I got the best energy. Like I said, I feel like there's so many angel wings behind me. I don't feel like I don't walk outside thinking about nothing. Like when I get off the interview with you guys, and it's the honest truth, I'm gonna go back to regular life, and I don't even think about it until I'm honestly talking to, my godmom, and you know how I am, godmom. So it's like I try to live and be as much as a family guy as I can and do everything I need to do for me and the kids and the family. I don't, I know it's a lot going on with my life right now, but I don't look at no negativity, and I just push forward.
Oh well, your positivity oozes from you, Rymir, and I think that's one thing that a lot of people gravitate to you for. Luna's saying I think we should all email Busby and do you know if he does no fee cases or if it's different in the US? I'm sure Busby will get wind, and if he can suggest anything, I'm sure that he will. Right, let's.
Yeah, I think it's gonna work out.
Yeah, I really do. We just continue to fight for the keys. We fighting for the right thing. Honestly, we'll continue to fight, and as I said, we win. We will win because we was coming with the truth and nothing but the truth.
That's
And
exactly what he did, Nicole.
that's honestly.
He took the test. He already had his DNA. Not to cut you off, Rymir.
No, you was right, and that's why I feel like me, and I've been a lot of people.
That's
Don't
why
get me
they wanted
wrong
to
with the
seal.
23andMe and the ancestor. I've been getting a lot of the messages. Honestly, as I said, we did ancestry before, but at this point in time in my case, y'all, I feel like the courts already had my DNA, and I feel like that's what they. I won't say that's what they want me to do, but I feel like I've been getting so many hidden messages from people that don't want to talk to me directly, but and some people I wrote back to and said that was I can do them and try them again. And I haven't tried 23andMe, but you got to look at it. The courts have had my DNA, and
Yeah.
it's not. It's these guys have had it for years, and like whatever they asked me to come and do, I've been in there. We've been filing. So why can't you guys just simply get someone and just take a test? But I don't know how, I don't know if these other websites, and I'm not saying they're not legit, but who knows if they can be tampered with at this point at a high profile case. So they just been telling me just stay away from it until the case over. And if the case, never gets over, I'll eventually take them again and keep you guys updated on everything.
Because there's several cases. Somebody's asking about what kind of attorney we need for New Jersey. Somebody who's been able to go into district court, and you can get a civil rights attorney. Because we tried to get the civil rights department in New Jersey to help us with our issues. we sent 18 to 25 letters over a 10-year period to the Attorney General begging for help and protection. I had to file a victims report, whatever it's called, activist report with the state of New Jersey. So we went to this, the Civil Rights Department, which is supposed to help you. And then also you give them the allegations about what you think happened. I mean, they cannot police themselves.
Yeah.
And everybody knew New Jersey was that kind of state. But when you actually in it and going through it, and then you're paying taxes to it, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so civil rights attorney, somebody who's registered, obviously can litigate in district court, and we're going to be in the Camden County.
This is the state of New Jersey that he doesn't own any property in, right?
Correct. We got deeds, tax records. That's public information. This is a public record.
I could find that one.
I already have it. It's a 5-minute case.
Yeah, didn't take much.
But they would not. We even said it to the attorney. Is your client's property? Is this your client name, Carter? That ain't my client's. So the judge was supposed to say, okay, no problem. Let's do a discovery. So that's why I said the problem is with the system.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it looks like to me they've been covering the cover up. This has been going on a long time. They knew there was deeper problems. Even when we were getting to this point in time, they knew that what was going on in the past years, because in those people in that industry, in the judicial, they talk.
Right.
They know what's the kind of person you're dealing with. So not just the money, but we're hearing about they've been hearing about Diddy for a minute. So Diddy wasn't by himself. He had a lot of company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, they knew to stay away from this, but they didn't realize it was going to come back to haunt them.
No, they screwed up because now this thing is a buzzsaw, right? I'm this big, and I got a friend that we've been trying to get out of prison for a long time, and he's yesterday he went back in to try to get a shot at catching a new sentencing.
Right.
But I said, hey, if you feel like you've been helped out at all by the things that we did, I wouldn't have been sober without this guy, right? And we got 1,278 letters that were written to this judge in a week, man. For real, right? For a black dude that none of these people have ever met. So when the internet gets behind somebody and the internet starts to believe in somebody, they messed up, because a bunch of people with these things are way more dangerous than a bunch of people with these things.
And I believe that. I believe that.
And they're going to find themselves coming into a buzzsaw, because this is 2025. And I promise you, people are sick and tired of watching really rich people get away with anything they want because of their cash. It's all I talk about. And people are sick and tired of it, man. And you're the poster child for it, brother. Sorry, but you look a lot like your dad. Holy hell. I bet you hear that a lot. But you know what I mean?
So much,
like,
man.
You really need a DNA test.
Yeah, that's it.
This would have been been over with. But hold on, here I come, son. I thank y'all for having me. I'm about to go take care of my son and keep knocking on the door. So I got the little 1-year-old.
No problem. Rymir, I just want to be 100% upfront with you. You're welcome back on this platform anytime at all. Even if you're wanting to jump in to just do a Q&A with the audience, if you want to do updates, Dr. Lil, you're very welcome to be here as well anytime that you want. Just don't ever hesitate. That's all I'm saying. Don't ever think.
I really appreciate you guys for even having us on here. You guys positivity help us grow, honestly, and it's all the love. I can really hear the sincerity in your guys' voice. Like as I said before, I build off of energy, and you guys are energy is raw and cut. And I feel like we all have our problems in life, but it's these type of meetings that help us grow and just push forward, and we all can help each other out, honestly. And really just appreciate all the support from everyone. Thank y'all so much.
No, we appreciate you, Rymir, and as well as yourself, Dr. Lil. Just very quickly before you go, this is one of our mods, Shane, who's put this question up. And if I put his question up and then you disappear, he's gonna give me a hard time.
Oh, he is.
I'm from Cambridge and went to school with Jay-Z's cousin Emery Jones. Did you ever meet Emery or the daughter that still lives there? Do you know either of these names, Rymir?
No, Emery. No, I never.
Cambridge, Maryland.
I believe
like
so.
The daughter, far as you talking about, Lakeisha, far as the one that was supposed to be.
Your half sister. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually talked to her some years ago. We was chatting it up and Instagram, and I think she hit me on Facebook, and we was conversing, and then it just stopped. So I honestly haven't been in contact
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
her
she
since.
got blocked.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I can't say too much on it because that would be me lying. So I can say I did talk to her and it just stopped. So I
I'm with
honestly
you.
don't know where she's at. She have been trying to reach out to me. Last time I checked, I sent her a couple messages. I seen she looked at it and didn't say nothing. So,
Right.
I
She's
feel
been
like I
told not to
tried.
talk to him.
If the future comes, I definitely reach out again. But I have tried and reached out to her. So yeah.
All right. Well, look, thank you for answering that. I know Shane was really looking for an answer there, so I appreciate that.
Yeah,
And
good question,
Rymir,
Shane.
we don't want to keep you if you've got to go and do your fatherly duties. So don't let us hold you back. And it's honestly,
Thank you for
thank you
having
so
me
much.
again, and I appreciate you guys, man.
I can stay for a few minutes and answer any
No
questions.
problem. No
I
problem.
see you, Mom. I love you. I'll call
down
you.
here.
Call me after the show.
All right, be safe. Give the baby a kiss from me.
Yep, I got
Love you.
All right. So yeah, Dr. Little, I really appreciate you staying back to answer some more questions because there's still a ton of them. But listen, you just keep me on what you can do time wise. I've got a wonderful newborn daughter, little baby Nova, who was born on Christmas.
Yeah.
So I've got about another 10 minutes, and Tommy, the wonderful Tommy. And I tell you something, if you think just because Dr. Lil and I both disappear, Tommy's going to disappear, you're very mistaken. Because Tommy's got a good 45 minutes of rant in him. Okay, after we go. Okay.
Tommy looks like he don't play.
Listen. He looks like he's just come back for some sort of funky jazz club tonight, and I am here for the vibe, Tommy. Okay, I'm here for the vibe. So let's jump into some more questions anyway. So where are we? We're down here.
By the way, before we do, what a great young man. I mean, my goodness, right?
Awesome.
What dad out there would not be proud as hell? For real. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
His mother did a great job with him. And then the role models I think he had. And then when this thing opened up in his life, he went to a dark place. And it was hard. But he got through it. And he had people speaking into his life. And that's why he said energy. But at the end of the day, I thank God for all of you because it took a village. Because I remember when I got custody of Rymir legally, and I'm thinking this was going to be a simple process. We'll get the paternity and go on with our lives, not realizing all these things were going to take place as a result of just doing something so simple. But and then just trying to keep him focused as his legal guardian. I had to get him out of school. The judge said, get him out of school and get him health insurance. That was the two things I was ordered to do. Not realizing the things that were coming down the pipe. But the community has been a very, very important, pivotal place and a group of people, especially the men. Let me just say it. In his life, because it meant something. It meant he has some kind of self-worth that he may not always felt that he had, because one of the things we didn't talk about is that why his mother wanted this so much. She wanted it for the obvious, but she also wanted it because the live-in boyfriend, because they were both young, on and off, and that kind of. Well, they wasn't living together at that time, but her teenage whatever rejected Rymir because he knew Rymir was not his kid, and he went through this struggle on why this man didn't like him, and his mother kept saying, "Because you're not his." You're not his. And then once she had this life and death experience, almost lost her life. She said she saw death. That's what she told me. And when she came to, she says, promise me you'll take care of Rymir if anything happens to me. Of course, I said yes. And she says, I want Rymir to know who his father is and why he was rejected by the boyfriend. So this was a big deal for her. And at the end of the day, she had been through stuff growing up. The on and off boyfriend had been through stuff, all kinds of stuff, but they were all teenagers, if you will. So at this point in time, to see how Rymir has turned into the young man he has, we don't argue like we used to, everybody. I mean, because now he understands that, and he was never disrespectful, but people can sometimes young people think they know more sometimes than the olders, and sometimes they do, but a lot of times they don't. So now I see how he has evolved, how he's matured, and how he's level-headed, and These things are very important. And then his mother, ever since she went home to be with God, to me, it seems like he's kind of got her mantle. He says her wings. He's taken on that that same temperament, the same spirit. So yeah. But I love your audience.
If he was a bitter young man, the world would probably understand. The fact that he's not is kind of
exactly.
Yeah.
a beautiful thing.
He had a reason to be.
Yeah.
He had a lot of good women that helped him, but the men is what he needed. So when he came into my life, the first thing I did was to hook him up with my brother, who was a police officer.
Oh, amen.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Because you can't be around a whole lot of women and be the man you need to be. And it did help him, but he went through those ups and downs, not understanding why this was happening to him. But now he gets it. I said, just hold on. Hold on. I know too. I said, I lost my parents when I was a teenager. Yeah, I was a teenager. I was about 11 years old. I wasn't really a kid. I wasn't even a teenager yet. So I've been through a tragedy myself. So at the end of the day, I said, you got to take one day at a time and hold on that this all happened for a reason. We didn't collide our lives together or run into each other for no reason. So it's one of those things where the history is an important part to then and now.
Yeah. All right. Let me just grab another question for you. Oh, here we go. Wanda being underage is a crime. However, I understand you don't want to ruffle feathers. Is this correct?
Yes. We never opened that door. The media did. And then as a result, the state was supposed to go and do what they do. When they became aware, which they did, knew that we were looking for attorney tests, the mother was underage because the mother would have to be a part of the docket, at least in New Jersey. They were supposed to go off and get her an advocate and Rymir. And the state didn't do nothing in New Jersey, and the state didn't do nothing in Pennsylvania. And we just kind of went with roll with the punches, still trying to keep up with this whole case drama. But yeah, so the state can do whatever they need to do. I don't know if the statutory has left, okay. But yeah, we never brought that up. We never talked about it because we knew that this child belonged to him, and we didn't want to take down his dad. But at the end of the day, the media did what they did, and then the dad didn't seem like he was going to do nothing to protect us. He's angry at us because it was in the media. More of Rymir. He was angry with Rymir and actually blamed Rymir, according to his family members. So at the end of the day, yeah. So we'll see how that pans out. But there's never been the intention of dealing with the crime because they sit there and the system, the government has not done nothing.
Yeah.
Both civil or crime.
Yeah.
I think that's probably going to be the buzzsaw, though. Honestly, I mean, this is the year, right? This is when
I believe this is the year. Things are going to come. This has definitely opened the surface for us. And it's unfortunate for him, but we're going to go take it where it's going to take it without manipulating anything. We're going to do what we're supposed to do, regardless of whether this was here or not. We are grateful for the cracks in the open doors and windows because they do help.
Yeah, you wouldn't have got it.
Exactly. I think we'd be running the same circle. But we knew in time that if we were supposed to stay on this and the way time I would have it, it evolved. And now we could get to witness it. And that's why I think Rymir is so encouraged too. He gets to see his faith in action, that what he believed came to pass because it's working in his favor. The right thing is coming about. But what a tremendous journey it's been. It's been a tremendous journey.
Tremendous is definitely one word to use for it.
Right, just one.
Just one. But Dr. Lil, I'm going to go and look after my lovely little baby. I'm going to leave you in the trusted hands of Mr. Tommy Schofield himself.
All right.
Tommy, you know the drill. You just do your thing. You just run the ship as long as you want it, brother.
I got you.
And,
all right, brother.
Thank you,
moderators, mods. Thank you very much for your job that you do just so well. I'll see you on Discord. Whoever all the members there, I'm going to pop on and see you all just shortly. And make sure you like and subscribe. Back tomorrow, 2 p.m. UK time with the Daily Show, and the show that should have been with Beverly tonight has been pushed to tomorrow. We'll keep you all posted there. Thank you all for being awesome, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Yes, Denise,
very
well said, Denise. God has spoken. It's time.
That's it, right? now that he's gone, let's talk about him.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Ron's a great dude. This to me is, and again, now that there's nobody here to get in my way, it's also a testament to you. This had to have been unbelievably difficult. I went through some paternity thing when I was a young man. As I said, I adopted my son. He was not biologically mine, and I remember the father coming back years later and deciding that he wanted to, which I thought was a great thing, by the way. But his mom did not. By then, his mom and I had divorced, and all of the drama in court and stuff. I was pulling my hair out. I can't imagine doing it on a stage the size that you've been doing, and the frustration and knowing that you're just being lied to has got to be awful.
Right.
A former Rockefeller employee said that Voldemort himself offered him some cash, and he turned it down. Is that true? If so, it shows he only wants to know the truth. We're behind you, Rymir.
Right. So early on, I want to say 2016, there was a settlement that they were looking to do with the case to get rid of it. And it was done through the attorneys, and the attorneys wanted to run off with most of the money.
Typical.
They wanted to give him Rymir crumbs. So they contacted us and said, this is what we want to do. I knew that what they were offering was 100 times more. And I said to him, what do you want to do? And he says, God, man, this is a joke. So that's what I went back and told him. I said his answer is no. So some of the stuff I think Jay-Z was trying to do some stuff with Rymir through his foundation. They were trying to get it in there because I want to say Jay-Z was trying to do the right thing, especially in the very beginning, because he's not crazy, right? And for whatever reason, he went the way he went, but he was trying to do the right thing. And then somewhere in there was a couple settlements. The second one, I think, too many people at the Rock Nation or wherever it was talking about it, and it tumbled. So you don't never want a settlement or something you're trying to do to be talked about and all that before you even get to the place where you want to do it, or not do it, but get to the place where you finished it. So I guess they felt that they didn't want to go on with it once it had leaked out somewhere.
Yeah, because that's what he's using that money to do, is to make it go away, right? He doesn't want this to be a story.
And I think he wanted Rymir to not have to go through this. Yeah. But he allowed these bad attorneys, to do what they wanted. And part of it was to teach Rymir a lesson about putting things in the public that's really private. Unfortunately.
Right. You know what? This is one of the questions. What about the other states, or is it a nightmare to start?
Meaning the other states to do
to bring action instead of doing it in Jersey, or there's this guy owns property in about a gazillion places, right?
Right. So the way it's done is the way the UFSA Uniform Thing Act works is that part of it is where the son lives and part of it is where the father lives. Because we have a pending action in New Jersey, and that's where the last state of the paternity question is, it is still there. We would have to go there and get it relinquished to another state and then start that process. But you don't really always get to do that because of the age of Rymir.
Right.
Now Rymir did inheritance case. Inheritance he can do in other states. Like somebody did that with Michael Jackson. When he died, wherever you live, you can bring an action, say, that's my daddy. And then that state will do something. That's outside of family court. Now, we were inside of family court. So if he does an inheritance, he probably could go to another state. But because of all this publicity and all this stuff going on, I don't think that will fly too well with him, with the system, rather. It'll make it look like he's the venue hopping. I forget the term they use.
Yeah.
You go to different venues. So right now,
shopping, venue shopping.
Yeah, exactly. Our issues is in the state of New Jersey, dealing with that system and what that is done, and we have to do that resolved.
Okay. Here's another good one.
Question.
This is another good one. I don't know if anyone has said it, but is he in touch with his sister, the secret one that Choke was talking about? Choke, no joke. I don't know if you saw the interview, but he's talked pretty extensively about helping. I guess what would be Rymir's half sister. So, because if they could get those two in touch, in theory, they could be using DNA between them.
Right. So that particular sister, we almost was at the sibling test stage, and we got blocked because by then, when she blew up from her being the daughter, they put a cease and desist on her, and she stopped talking, and then she stopped talking to Rymir. She originally contacted Rymir through Facebook, and she wanted to go forth with what she was doing with him, as well as what she was doing before she blew up. And then right after she blew up, he wasn't able to contact her. So Rymir's biggest thing is he's not too caught up in doing the testing, even though he wants to do the testing. He wants to be recognized. He wants to be acknowledged, because he thinks that maybe even if when this is all reconciled, that Carter might be so mad, he still ain't gonna say nothing to him. So he really wants the acknowledgement. He wants him to do what he's supposed to do in the relationship manner.
Act like a father.
Right. And he already knows who this child is because he's had the DNA since 2011.
Right.
And now Rymir's DNA, as he said, has been on the dockets of the Philadelphia case for his children he has there. And the attorneys were all there. His attorneys. All they had to do is take his DNA and match it. And you know they did.
Yeah, no question.
So that's not a problem for him. We kind of got peace with that. But the biggest thing is the relationship. Will you accept me? That's the bigger problem. And that's the part he doesn't talk about as much. But he wants to be accepted.
Yeah, I can't say I blame him. I think that we all desire that, right?
Exactly.
Especially young men.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? There's that leaves a void there.
Right.
So are you here?
I am here.
Okay, I wasn't sure whether or not. I saw your symbol. Shane, how are you?
Good, sir. How are you, Mr. Tommy?
Good. Glad that you're here.
And Dr. Lil, how are you doing, young lady?
I'm good. How are you, Mr. Shane?
Good. I think it's the first time we've met, and I don't usually put my face up there because most of the time I haven't shaved in a bit, and I look kind of rough, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Crazy.
It's like I had a rough.
You crazy.
Been a tough decade. No, you're looking fun.
I was mentioning earlier that, again, I'm from Cambridge where Jay and DeHaven and those guys lived. And that's why I was asking Rymir if he ever had any conversation with his, I guess, half sister at that point in time, because I wasn't real familiar with Rymir, but I can tell you he is an amazing young man. And you know, we're here to support him in any way we can and help out. So I just wanted to throw that out there too.
Thank you. Thank you.
And wanted to read one super chat from Joyful Ladybug. Dr. Lil, you're wonderful. God's timing is perfect. He never reveals everything to us, but by faith, you both held on. The time is here. Your new Atwood family is on board to help you guys over the finish line. So thank you, Ladybug.
That's a sermon right there, girl. Amen.
Yeah, I tell you, we love the super chats. Again, not for the money, but it gives a lot of great comments, a point to stand out where if we miss them and don't see them. So, but I'll let Tommy take it back from there, and I'm just here kind of in the background to catch questions if he happens to miss one or two.
And I do, and I'm almost sweeps for it. So the question is, why don't you? Have you guys thought about approaching Netflix or any of the large sort of streaming services that are kind of famous for this type of documentary and see if they had any interest in this?
We've had a couple ones that did approach us, and then somebody actually approached Rymir's half sister as well. Is some guy, I forget his name. He's connected to some big stuff. But because we're so inundated with the case and running our own personal lives and trying to keep up with stuff, it just hasn't happened yet. But everybody likes to tell their story. I actually wrote a book about my personal story. And now I want to write something about my legal story. So, yeah, I think it's a great idea. And it is something that it probably will come down to. It'll come down to something. The whole thing is, what would the narrative be? Because, you know, you're still talking about family issues. And you got to be careful because you don't want to hurt nobody, but you also want to be liberated yourself.
Yeah. So
that's always the sticky part about the next steps and stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, especially when you've kept it this classy for this long. I mean, in all honesty, I think one of the things that sticks out is that this is of all parties involved, Rymir looks fantastic, right? And when you hand something like this over to and I'm not bagging on Netflix because we could be talking about Hulu or anybody else, but when you hand your story over to somebody that's going to tell it,
Right.
Sometimes that narrative changes and it's not the direction you want to take it.
Hold on 1 second, because this thing keeps. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to turn the light on because it keeps falling over.
Oh goodness.
And the light, what happened is the sun went down, and then the light is messing up, and then it's shattering my head, and I'm trying to not make it look like my head is cut off. You know how that is, right?
I do want to throw one thing out there, guys.
I ain't trying to look that crazy. It still got my head cut off, but that's okay.
If everybody loves Tommy's hat tonight and his amazing flowered shirt, throw one in the chat for Mr. Tommy Scoville. Looking like a cool cat.
Yeah, I was. We're jazz clubbing a little later, so I was.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, that's much better.
Deborah Kogan says, "Is there anything we can do to support Dr. Lil and Rymir? Letters to the court, fundraising."
Yeah, I think the first thing we want to do is make sure that for this judge's case, is to make sure the right judge is in for what we're going to be doing, because we got judges doing judges. So I think that I'm not sure how to word this, but I'm just thinking that we just want to make sure that whoever they put in there is accountable. And I know you guys are in UK, so y'all really can't be what they call court watchers. But the number one thing would be a court watcher, somebody who would be there on days that we're there to help with the public opinion, so to speak. And just the public just wants the truth. The public wants the truth. They want due process. They want the right thing. It don't matter who wins, but just treat me right. So that's the number one thing. And then fundraising, they're going to try to set up a GoFundMe page. We're going to go that route, because if we just take money on Cashapp, that don't look good. It ain't good. And my godson will have some issues later, so I don't want him to get caught up in that. But yeah, we have an attorney that works with our church legal clinic, and they can help us with that. But we would be more than happy to get that kind of support, of course. And also too, like I said, if we can get we could find a way to do a virtual, maybe while we're at the court, you guys will be online. I don't know. So, but yeah, any type of support regarding the court and letting them know.
I know just the person. I really do. I know somebody that has already said in the chat tonight, and I'm looking to see if I see her again. There you go, right here.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. I knew she'd pop up if we waited a second. I said, I'm in Camden County next to the courthouse. I can go there anytime. And I'll tell you something. Realty has a good size YouTube channel. So she's not just, and is good at what she does. So I can put a thumbs up on that, which is always fun. But yes, that's what I'm talking about. This kind of communication. And you know what? We can make sure that you guys get, we won't do it here live because you don't need 30,000 people. But I will get you her email address.
Okay.
Yeah, and Tommy, too, one thing we can do, Doc, we can, as far as like the UK, the channel is based there with Sean and Ron, but Tommy's here, and I'm actually with the channel too, and I'm in Maryland. So, a lot of times, like if you guys do establish like a PayPal or something like that, when Sean goes back, he'll do different edits of this interview, and then we can put the link in the description at that point. And even do a live stream like Ron was saying, and do like a crowdfunding night where we can help. And you'll really draw a good crowd because, you know, with Tommy here, his community, he's got an amazing community. Ron and Sean and myself, you know, Sean, you see 1 million people that are here, and 1,500 people right now just streaming along with us, and another 500 or 600 on Twitter just watching. So the draw is there, and there's people always willing to help in this community. It's an amazing group of people.
You guys have built a great machine here.
Well, and the thing is too, and it's you know, again, Tommy's got a smaller community, but they are very devoted to him. And when he came and became part of the channel, they all come with him, and it's amazing, and his brother as well. So,
all right, Mr. Tommy.
Whenever you all are ready, we'll definitely be willing to help any way we can, and you know, go from there. So now I'll shut up and let Tommy go back.
That would be a blessing. That would be a blessing, because this is the kind of stuff that makes you feel like you're not by yourself.
Well, you know, I think that's a really good point, because you're not. I mean,
Yeah.
I did a show where I just brought Rymir up the other day. It wasn't even a show about the subject. I was just I was talking about his dad, and the response I got just bringing his name up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are super angry about this because
Right.
it flies in the face of humanity, right?
It does.
Of what it means to be a human. This is your son,
Right.
Nobody understands this kind of stuff because Hollywood should not transcend basic things like the desire to be a parent is kind of something that in theory is in all of us. Seeing your kid should really have an effect, and it's pissing a lot of people off. Sorry, it's probably not a
And
word.
then it all led to illegal liens.
Yeah.
So now you're coming in with fraud, talking about fraud, doing all what you do that leads to fraud. I mean, leads to illegal liens on a property you lived in, didn't know what's going on, and then you get money for doing wrong.
Right.
And the cover-up's always worse, man. The cover-up is always worse.
It's worse.
Yeah.
And then try to get extra money. One of the lawyers said, oh, there's more money in that escrow. I want some more. What? Are you kidding me?
It's amazing how it works.
I've been following this, right? I actually have been following you guys, and this is one of the weirdest things ever because a top court, like the higher court, will say, nah, you screwed up on that, and they don't go fix it.
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean? Like in any other place, they go, ooh, we're in trouble. This has honestly just been in your face kind of illegal, right? For lack of a better way to put it. How can humans treat other humans like this? What is the future of us?
That's what bothers me.
Yeah.
That's what bothers me, L Doc, because I'm like, where is this country going? This is the country my father fought for as a Marine. This is my mother was in politics and cleaned alleys and took care of people. This is the country we're trying to live and be a better person. Or what's going on here, everybody? It makes people feel like they want to give up hope and not do nothing. Like I said, run through the red light. Yeah. Break one law, break them all. But that's obviously not the way to go.
No. And you know what? Some of us, this is actually how I got onto all cases like this. Some of us actually went away for a really long time for the things that we've done. Right.
Exactly.
I visited the federal system. I spent a decent amount of time in there. I'd like to see, I would like to see things evenly applied. It kind of sucks when the law only applies to you if you're not rich. And sadly, that's our system. In federal court, a judge can mandate him to get swabbed right there in the back of the courtroom with marshals standing by. Trust me, says Swan.
I believe it.
Yeah, here's the thing. They got his DNA, right? When you get arrested, they take your DNA in this country these days. I've had mine taken more times than I care to admit. But, you get into a squab with the law now in any way, they're going to squab the inside of your mouth.
It stays on file, right?
It stays on file permanently. Yep, it stays on file permanently. Now, getting a judge to say, okay, go ahead, and because somebody asked earlier, if the DNA is already out there, couldn't they just clear every other case with it? And you nailed it, right? That chain of custody thing is a really big deal, right? There's going to be a person watching them do that who's going to sign off on it. So it has to be done in a specific way.
Right, exactly. So the right person is doing it, and then they can take it to the lab and it doesn't get swapped or destroyed because it's high stakes here.
No question.
Yeah,
no question. And when you got one participant who literally has thousands of millions of dollars, it becomes there a lot of times the attorneys, and I think in his defense, and I know I'll catch crap for ever saying anything in his defense, but in his defense, when you start getting up into that echelon of doing business and that kind of, you got a lot of lawyers who have an interest in you not doing what you want to do as well. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there are lawyers in there going, you can't acknowledge this kid. You got any idea what's going to happen if you acknowledge this kid?
Yeah.
I think that's why we're here. I think he left his heart, so I think it with his head. And that was okay to a certain degree. So let's deal with this as a grown person's problem. Let's deal with it at that level. Why would you let it go this far?
Yeah.
Right.
It was a dirty fight because you were doing stuff under the cup. And then again, where did it lead to? Putting liens on people's property. So now you don't went beyond. You want to suck it. That's what I don't like. Don't let people go that far. Because he has the ability to say, no, don't do that, or whatever. But at the end of the day, they did it, and now they got money for it.
Yeah, when you guys were talking about the lien, it really caught me. I'm like, how in the heck did they do that?
Yeah.
Doc, there's a Nana 65 said Dr. Lowe asked Sean Atwood and Ron about a documentary. They would do it the way you would be or would want it to be done. They could give you advice on it, and that's true. I mean, Sean's got a publishing company and everything, and studios and whatnot. So it's really something that, and I've got a few people that I'm in touch with that actually have worked with the True Blue Network and Netflix that I've dealt with over the past couple of years. So
Good.
it's definitely available if it's something you guys would want to pursue and go that route. So.
Absolutely. I think it's a good story to tell. And I think we will be in a safe place with you all, that the narrative and everything we've done and with some, because we're not out to hurt people, but we just want to do what we're supposed to do and tell a good story. And hopefully people can get healed and have hope, because there's a lot of Rymirs out there.
Right.
Yeah.
And one thing too, and one thing I like about this community, there's been a lot of change since everything started with Diddy, as far as, the color of her skin, bringing up people of color, and we shouldn't be speaking on that. I'm like, it's in the news. It's what's happening. And it's like, that's why I love this community. And we've, met up with Miss Natanya, you got Jaguar, and we try to give everybody fair play and fair time, whether you believe it or not. It doesn't have anything to do with the color of their skin, and everybody just, is fair to one another. But the channels that do that, it hurts me, because I really, think that, hey, we're trying to get justice to help a bunch of kids that were done wrong and people that were done wrong. It's not at that point about the color. It's just trying to help save people,
Exactly. And this story with the underage really hits home with me. That's another trigger. It's not as deep as these recent ones, because I lost my parents at the age of 11.
Oh, wow.
Both of them at the same time. And we sort of went into a system. As a matter of fact, somebody tried to do something with my sister at the time at 16, but she knew how to handle herself. But anything could have happened to us. And it was eight of us. It was 8 kids. I was in the middle.
Wow.
By the grace of God, we were able to stay together. But I think about one thing could have went wrong, and we would have went into the system, and who knows where we would be.
Yeah.
These kids were trafficked and all these other crazy things. And then I have kids at the church that are at that age, 11 and 12 and 13, and they're hanging around me all the time. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what would it be if these kids were caught up in this kind of environment?
Right.
It's sick.
It is for sure.
It's a horrible thing, and I'm just grateful that we're a part of trying to make something better in our own way, whatever that's going to be, because I know God's got something, and God don't work small. He's a big God. So he is. So I said, Lord, I don't have any children. You didn't put me in this system, in this situation. Now we got to talk about it. So God just lets me know it's not your battle, it's mine. So at the end of the day, I know it's definitely about these children, so that we can do something to make the system better and make people think twice about going after a child. Yeah. So all this ritual stuff, we know what that is.
Right.
That's demonic. But even the devil, I mean, come on, the devil need to get himself together too. Because I'm thinking, why you got to go to kids? He wants to take their souls.
This is a really interesting. I've been doing this now for a minute, and there are certain true crime stuff that I talk about that gets people fired up. But the story of both Seans now in this case, right? This has electrified people in a way that nothing else has. And I was talking about Rymir the other day with a different content creator, somebody else that I work with, and he goes, boy, you talk about everything in life coming together at the right time for this kid, right? Mm-hmm. For real. Everything that is going on is shining a laser focus directly on this case. And it speaks to way more than them just being, because people are fed up with Hollywood turning their back on what it means to be a family and be a human and be all of those things. But on top of all of that, this is the subject. People who are underage, people who's getting steamrolled because of somebody else with money. It's kind of like everything is coming together to really make this a story that the world wants to hear.
It's Correct. A miracle. It's a miracle. Yeah. It really is.
And oddly enough, you've got a Sean that's bringing it all to us on this channel.
Ain't that crazy? That's the Trinity right there. That's the Trinity.
And I get called Sean enough as it is being the Shane. So it's like,
y'all all close. And then we got a Tommy. So the Lord, he knew how to put it all together.
Yeah.
This is
amazing.
I'm honestly I'm excited as heck to be a part of this story. My show on this channel is usually on Thursdays, and when he called today and said, "Hey, can we have you on?" I was doing the nah, and then he was like, "Rymir is going to be on." I said, "Sure, yeah, I can come in." This really is to me a very exciting. This is an exciting story. There's not going to be a lot of feel good that comes out of the next year and a half. Right. There's not going to be a lot of feel good. That this is going to be a bummer of a story that's going to grind on. But this young man who's really a great person, right? Obviously, him getting some kind of justice in all of this, it's going to make this an easier pill to swallow.
That's right. I totally agree. We got a question.
Yeah, Tommy, you want to take it, or Doc? Can you see it?
I can see it.
Do you think they are all the fall guys? Is it timed? Is there a pattern? And where do you think it's going?
I think, go ahead. You want to expand on it?
I just I think I understand the question, right? You're asking about Diddy, and you're asking about Sean Carter. Like, are they serving these people up on platters? Is that what is being asked? I
kind of think they are. They said the NFL is doing that as well as Carter's attorney, but I think that some of the things that might have been alleged, if these things are true, and it sounds like they are. I've heard Justin Bieber just the other day talking about a ritual they wanted him to do similar to this mess, and they brought up Carter's name, saying he did it. But at the end of the day, I do think there is a great big setup, because I think the sins of the father, not only the sins of the father, I think it's what you reap and what you sow, that things are coming to that place. And the bigger problem is the attitude, because now that you're doing this in the public and you're not handling it with the right attitude, but you're kind of flaunting your money and doing stuff, is making it more that the public is going away from you, which means people like the NFL and these high profile attorneys will do as well, because everybody's looking at their image and what's going to happen to them in the long run. So I say that to say there is a fall guy here. Diddy's already in the system. The very system that covered him up and would not arrest him early on don't want him out. So the system will turn against you once the public says what it says. It's more of us than it is of them. So I think what's going on now with Carter is the same thing, that there is, and it's not going to be a few fall guys. It's going to be quite a few, and it might be some fall gals too.
Like a big domino effect.
Yeah, and I think this is the time where it's supposed to happen, because this is the way life is. Life has cycles, it has seasons, and it has times, and nobody's perfect. But when you don't get it together and you need to get it together, sometimes these kind of things happen. Right. So I think this is what's going on, and it's coming in full force, because this is the very thing I was trying to keep my godson away from. Going into jail and doing the wrong things and hanging around the wrong people. I mean, you can work at that with young people. Yeah. And then they get it somewhere along the line, because we've all been through that seasons in our life, and sometimes it happens, and we realize no matter what happens, we're still going to love you. We want you to learn.
Well, you've given him a good person to follow and a good person to look up to. That's for sure, Doc.
And then my brother, being a police officer, was able to show him what being shot looked like. Because that's what we should do with the church kids. We say, look, you stay out late at night, don't listen to mama. I wanted to come home too. But you're only 13 years old. You got school tomorrow. So at the end of the day, sometimes you can show kids better than you can tell them. And I think that this situation here now, that they did what they did, and they're going to show them better than they can tell them, that you're not going to be able to push your way out of this, buy your way out, or talk your way out, because the public's not going to have it.
Early on, they talked about putting him on, getting him a record contract. Did they not?
Get him a what?
Wasn't there some talk about signing him to the label and sort of?
Very early on, when we first were doing the talks, the in-house attorney of Mr. Carter was very forthcoming, and Mr. Carter himself was trying to do the right thing. And they wanted, because he wasn't crazy. Jay-Z's not crazy. Yeah. He knew he had a lot of enemies probably out there even back then. And if this son he believed was his, he'll be in my corner. So therefore, they talked about putting him on the label, and that was a little discussion. I said, well, we can't do that right now, because I got to get him out of high school. Because getting him out of high school, that was a job. because I help him to stay focused and do what he needed to do, so everything would be timely. So it was work. Me and his mother worked at that. But yeah, I'm glad that we didn't release him.
Amen.
He's actually glad too.
Yeah.
Because he thinks his life might have went down another path.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the thing when he looks back and reflects on the things that you guys have done and pushed him towards education-wise, just life in general, he'll probably thank you for the rest of his days. You know,
He's doing that now. He does that now. He's a very
that's amazing. Then
he's a good kid to have, because even though any kid has always got their points of debating and they think they know more than you, we all went through that. He's still a good person, and he loves everybody. He loves family. He tries to keep everybody together, even though sometimes we don't want to be together. But
Right.
yeah, he does. He'd be like Rymir, I'm not done with them right now. You got to. So he's that kind of person. But at the end of the day, he does. He just thanks us and stuff like that, because it could have been something else.
Well, and you can see too. I mean, even when his child was a need, it was like boom, he was ready to jump up midstream and go, and that's what should happen. And
Right.
again, that's I was a single dad, and my son's now adopting a couple of kids. He's a police officer, been in the Army, and done great. And my ex was an amazing mom. Not so much we weren't good together, but with him, and you look back and just like with Rymir, it all goes back to one person or two people that put in the time and put in the effort. And again, you can see that in him with being around you too, the respect to you, and the respect to everybody else. And I don't know how old he is, but
33. Yeah.
Younger than I am. I got him about 19
Younger than me
years.
too.
Yeah, but again, that's still old enough to know better, but you're still young enough to still learn from somebody and apply that to his own child.
Right. And he's been up all night. He got off work, I want to say about 11, and took about an hour or so to get home, and then he got on the line here, so he hasn't been to sleep yet.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
He's a vampire, but he is a vampire. But I did tell him, you got to get your sleep. He wants me to be a vampire. No, Ms. Godma got to get her sleep. But no, he's a vampire. So at the end of the day, yeah, for him to stop and have to go do with his son, he hasn't gotten any sleep yet.
This is an interesting question. I'm gonna knock this out, because the reason I highlighted this: if they're coming after people speaking out on podcasts, are we all then in danger of repercussions who comment? No, but the fact that we have to ask that question legitimately in 20 and 25 is the reason that 2025 has to be the year of change, right? For real,
I think it's gonna be a fight. Yeah,
and it is going to be. I mean, it honestly is going to be. And the good thing is, maybe I'm a hopeless optimist or whatever, but I've never seen the online community come together and rally around anything the way they have on this case. No one wants this to die. They want this to be followed through, because the Me Too movement almost happened. I'm sorry, it didn't happen. It was close, right? And I feel like a lot of people realize that we've been close before, and then they give somebody up, like an Epstein or a Weinstein or whatever, and then nothing changes and nothing happens. And I think in 2025, people are going to demand change. And I think that it's good timing for your God baby. It's perfect timing.
I think so. He's 32.
Yeah.
32.
Wow. He's doing something right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just a youngin'. That's all. Just a youngin'.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Healthy.
Yeah. Let's see. Here looks like another question. Tom, I just put up there. It should pop up in just a second.
Okay. Can you subpoena Jay to have a lie detector test?
Well, it's funny he said that, because Rymir's mother, Wanda, back then said she would give a lie detector test about her allegations. Just like the young lady who's doing it now, who's 38, and said the allegations, blah, blah, blah. And when she said that, it made me think of Wanda. In this regard, I don't think that it's legal, or you have to have a probable cause to ask somebody to do it. I don't think most lie detector tests are not permissible in court. So you can probably use them for what you're going to use it for, but I don't think you can subpoena somebody for that, and probably unless the state brings you in to do whatever they do, they would do it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's my understanding.
That's been my experience in the past, is that they will happily give you one. If you say, hey, I'm willing to take one, they will bring someone in about 10 minutes to give you one. but courts can't. In my criminal career, they could never compel you to take one because courts don't recognize them universally. Some states do, some states don't.
Mm-hmm.
So Doc, it said, can you file lawsuits in other countries that he owns property in the UK, for example?
You probably can. I'm sure you can. You just need to have a reason for whatever you're doing. You can go to whatever state he has jurisdiction at, and if jurisdiction, you could get jurisdiction from having a business that you're doing tied to the state and or a property, just like with New Jersey. You have 3 or 4 or 5, 6 properties there. So one of the properties his mother lived in, and one of them he lived in just before he got married. Nonetheless, it was still his property in his name, because when you have property in the state has you.
Right.
I think they,
Jersey.
well, the one thing they were talking about essentially is, but it's not state to state. They're actually talking like from the U.S. to the UK. So if he had a place there,
I think you can.
You think like international law would probably cover that?
I think it would, because I've heard people tell me they sue other countries for different things. So I think you can go wherever you think the law is, because somebody said that to me a long time ago. They said, if you don't get no help in the United States, would you be willing to go outside? I said, I guess.
Okay.
Yes,
cool.
I'm almost sure you can, because if they got property there, you can compel them.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It keeps people from running out of the United States to get away from jurisdiction, which used to happen all the time. So there's definitely ways that you can go after people who decide that they're just going to leave, right? So there are ways to do international lawsuits, to be sure. How old was Jay when Rymir was conceived? Is the question.
According to Wanda's affidavit, she said that she was 16 and he was 22, but it looked like he was really 24.
Right.
Based on somebody sending the age, because sometimes you can get that little off. But according to her affidavit, she was understanding that he was 22 and she was 16. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
wow.
Yep.
And see, I never knew that was the one thing why, when this initially started, why I was thinking why he just wouldn't go ahead and get the DNA test done to either prove or disprove. And then all of a sudden I started hearing, like Tommy and you guys talking about the how young she was.
Right.
But you know what? It's okay. So he did that. He did it. It's done. It's over with. There's a young man now living a life that could be very different if he was his father. Either way, he's going to be condemned for it. So why not at least step up, be a man, and say, okay, let's do this test to see if he's my boy or not. You know, because the thought process is there. Everybody is pretty much saying, I mean, he looks just like him through his eyes and all to me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, get it done. It's not going to make you look any better if you don't do it. It's just going to almost put guilt on you, whether you're his dad or not, you know? So just my opinion. That's all.
I also believe that in 2025, if he were to step up and do the right thing, like the world is ready for people to step up and do the right thing. I think you know,
Right.
a lot can be forgiven, you know, but
I think I agree with that so much, Tommy. I think that there is a time when people, if they do what's right, you can be redeemed, because we love most people like people that are what they call the underdog.
yeah.
So if you do wrong and say, hey, you know what, I messed up, blah, 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 let me do whatever. I think in this case, it's more fear.
Yeah.
I think there's some fear there, because there is repercussions because of the drama.
Right.
And it's sad that it had to get this way, because it didn't have to be this way. And I tried to get this right by us.
Yeah. This could have been easy.
Exactly.
Right.
But you know something? That's a recurring theme, isn't it? Like, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but this is a recurring theme. There are so many chances that along the way that these people had to make things right in so many ways, in so many cases. And the fact that they just did this to everybody is the reason that, you know, one of them is sitting in a county lockup,
Right.
and the other looks like he's got 4 walls closing in on him. Right, to be honest.
But with something Mr. Diddy said, that I saw a video of him, and you know how he get his eyes looking like it was weird, like he has something inside of his body. But he said in the video, he says, "We're here to take your souls. We're here to control your children.
Yeah.
We decide what they wear and where they go and how they pants and the things. Oh yeah, did y'all see that video?
Yeah,
yeah, I saw it.
That was, but you see, and he meant it.
Yeah.
And I think he was at like an award ceremony, if I'm not mistaken. Some type
Was
of
that an
ceremony.
award
In front of everybody that you're going to
it
control
was.
our kids. No,
Yeah.
you're not, sir.
That's it.
But he
Right.
spoke the words with authority as if I know how to do it. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You know, you got to stand up to that.
That's called karma with a capital K. You know, it's bit him now, and he's paying for it as he deserves, or he's so to be shunned upon him for what he's done.
Yeah.
That's for certain.
For sure. The choices he made. And I wish that he can get himself repent in that cell and get his life together, turn his heart to God.
You know something? Nobody's beyond help. I promise you.
As long as they're waking up.
Yeah, I had a pretty rugged past. But you get to a point where you say, I'm going to continue being the same person that I am, or you got to jam on the brakes. I don't know that Sean Combs is ready to jam on any brakes. I mean,
right.
I hope so.
That's the sad part about it, because we've been praying for him that something would change. Sean Carter too. We're hoping he would change and do whatever he has to do to get his life together, because it's not the end of the world, and things can get better. They don't have to get worse. You can stop the bleeding and try to move this train forward, and people get it because they know where they've been. So it's not like, we can't get there together. Somehow, some way we can work it out.
Well, Doc, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Now, because you're definitely more educated in this whole scenario than I am with it. I'm learning as I go along and learning from Tommy and Sean and all. When you see the names like Oprah and Ellen and these big multimillionaire people that came from humble beginnings, do you really think there's that many people that have evil running through them like Diddy does, that are participating in all these types of events?
I don't think it was at that level. I think that there has been some parties that may have been places where people didn't know this was going on. I know when I was coming up, I got invited to big time parties down in Florida, blah, 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 with these big time people. And they told me, I didn't go to one of them, but and I did in the future, but they were telling me on some of them that they had different rooms and you had choices to go in the room. I think that Oprah and Ellen DeGeneres and some of them other ones may have been in that same situation. Got invited to the party, didn't know what they were going to get to when they got there, because it's a party. And then you got all these other rooms that you can go in or not. Now, I remember one time being at a party, and the guy said to us, he said, if you go in this room, this is what's going on, and you're not going to come out. He said, if you don't want to, and he said, this room is doing this. He said, if you don't want to go, he says, go back downstairs. And that's where I went. So some parties will do that. They will tell you right off the bat. I think the problem with Diddy's parties is the drinks. And I was talking to God about this. Let me just say, I talked to God about it. I said, why do they need to have a date drug if they're going to have, if they want to have sex, just have it. So we understand that the date drug takes, and the way God showed it to me, it has triggers. It has triggers where it does some things with your brain and takes the area which deals with the sex to a whole nother level unnaturally. Wow. So that's why between that and the alcohol makes people want to, even Matt Gaetz, they were saying, they just got to keep having it. But at the end of the day, don't take it and still have it, but you might not be able to do it all night.
Right.
So, but the thing is, with these things, it takes you to another level. And unfortunately, with that, it makes people act out of character. They don't know who they are. Now, if Oprah had a drink that she didn't know it was Spike or anybody else, that can make people alter their thinking. So they're wrong. I guess they're wrong, but they're not 100% because they were deceived.
It's a pretty important statement, actually. It's a very important point to make, because I think people lose this. I spent a lot of time, unfortunately, in the drug world, and gamma hydroxybutyrate, the substance that they're using. When we hear that they knock somebody out with a chemical, right, we get a visual image of videotapes of these people doing something to somebody unconscious, and that's not what happens. These people are very much conscious. They just aren't there. Like you literally check out. You know, in the following day, it's that, somebody took a puzzle, removed 9 pieces of it, shook it the hell up and threw it out on the table, and you try to put it back together, and you don't remember which events happened first or which events happened last. And that morning, some woman's going to walk in there and say, ooh, girl, you got wild last night. You were trying to get 4 dudes to go in the back with you. What the hell is going on with you? Right. He had female handlers to ruffle out these feathers. This was a finely engineered machine.
Right. They knew how to do it. Bring them in, give them the drink, and have the bedrooms ready. So somebody definitely gonna need to lay down.
Yep.
So I think that some of the stuff they probably knew about, didn't know about it. I would have to get more information, but I'm not surprised because networking and power types of parties is a big deal, especially in Hollywood. But you don't go there to get intoxicated and drunk. I mean, not like that anyway. You know what I mean? I don't know somebody drugging me. So, and then some of these things are taking your brain and making your brain act erratic. And every drug does everybody differently. That's why for some people, when I counsel them, I said, don't pick up. Just don't pick it up. Because in your family, these are their triggers. So if I were you, I mean, you can do what you want, but you don't want to pick up because that might send you off to Never Wonderland where somebody else might just go to a city.
Right.
So you just got to know yourself. So I think this is the problem I'm having with all this control and manipulation, that they needed to take what they had, their brain, and alter it to get what they wanted instead of somebody just saying they wanted to do it. And that's what's scary and also crazy.
So given his situation today, I don't believe he wants anything to do other than run like a scared rat and hope he stays one step ahead of those chasing him. I think probably most people believe that to be the case. LDoc, we're talking about a drug called gamma hydroxybutyric acid, right? Now, it has been alleged that has been mixed with a couple of other things like methyl dioxymethamphetamine. They might have put a little bit of ecstasy mixed in with this.
Right.
And then some liquid flow as well. Yeah. And then alcohol. Yep. To kick it all in. Multiply it. Big time.
That's
I wonder how many
off the roof there.
Yep.
I wonder how many people that were not in the public eye may have been unalived taking that concoction. I mean, do you think there's bodies somewhere hidden that like again people that were considered non-essential,
or they had a team, right? Or they had a team of medical professionals sitting around. Because when someone walks into your party, they can walk into your party having 9 cocktails before they got there. They could have 9 cocktails before they got there and ate 2 bars of Xanax at 4 milligrams of alprazolam in their system, and then you're going to hand them this drink. It goes beyond reason to think with 1,000 bottles of this crap laying around that there weren't some people who stopped breathing. These are heavy respiratory depressants, and when you mix them with alcohol, it's yet another respiratory.
It doubles on top of it again.
They had some nurses around because then he would have a dead body on his hand.
Yeah.
It just makes you think at some point something, in the beginning when they, just starting it all, I just have this weird, eerie feeling that there's people buried somewhere underneath of a big pile of dirt that just unfortunately were the tested trial rats of his whole game,
Right, because that's too much. I mean, especially if you come to a party and you ain't used to that.
Yeah.
And you got the drinking, you got the pills.
Yeah, you're trying to impress everybody. You're there with Diddy and all.
And allegedly they're doing this to everybody. You're not saying to them, "How much do you weigh? Have you ever done this before?" Right? They're just handing somebody a drink and saying, "Go to it." The guy could be a heroin addict. He could have fixed right before he went to the party.
Exactly.
All of those drugs are respiratory depressants.
Right. If you don't do it, they said that he kicked you out. You had to leave the party. Because you would have been.
Should be a good reason to leave the party, right then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Reach out to DUI guy. He did a court watch for the Amber Heard trial. Also reach out to Emily D. Baker. She's on YouTube and is a lawyer. Those are some great people. But I think we can get you some contact information on some people that, as we said, are very close to the Camden courthouse, and they do this. This is what they do.
Right.
There'll be plenty of people ready to help. I promise.
Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry.
No, you're good.
You said we're sitting in a cell with drawing.
How easy would it be for Diddy to own actions in his cell? To own actions in that cell right now? Oh yeah, I see. So yeah, I've talked about this a lot on my show. I got life flighted off of the prison in Victorville, California, after getting stabbed. And when I got brought back because I wouldn't say what race stabbed me, I got thrown into solitary confinement where they wouldn't let me have a cellmate. And I was on walk alone. That means nobody can even go by your cell. So there was no dope. And yeah, that's when you meet God. But you got to actually be ready to have a conversation with him. Diddy is not in solitary. This is a guy that's got a bunch of people around him who are probably telling him he's cool, honestly. I mean, he's in a protective custody unit. I would imagine that he's the coolest thing there, or was until Luigi showed
Well,
up.
he was been giving parties. They said he was doing parties in jail. Did y'all hear about that?
Doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
He loves hospitality, and that's a beautiful thing. I got family members that love a good party, but that'd be a good party, y'all.
Yeah, no question. He had the hang of it.
But yeah, I think that he definitely be withdrawing from there because you're in there and you're detoxing unless these people are bringing it into him.
Yeah, you know that's people kept asking about whether or not he was going to get Epstein. If he's going to get Epstein, it's going to be because someone gives him a pill. Because when you're strung out like that, I was on dope for 30 years, man, and I promise you, even if they said to me, "Hey, this is the poison one; it's going to kill you," I probably would have taken it anyway. Like
right.
When you're that,
That's what happened to one of my older brothers. He was in rehab and doing okay, and then he just had to have this fix. I think he was on heroin because he used to be in the military on a Navy.
Yep.
And was in the hospital, and one of his friends brought him not dope but rat poison.
Oh man, yeah.
Wow.
And he blew up just like a rat.
Yeah.
It was crazy because why didn't they just bring him what he wanted?
Do you know why that is? I can actually explain that. As horrible as this is, I can explain that. So in the day, especially with powdered stuff, back in the day, what they used to do is they would make 200 folds, right? And they put a stamp on each one of these folds, and it'll say like Moonlight in Vermont or Blue Star or, Purple Magic. And now the dope addicts will ask for particular dope. And if they hear on the news that 2 people overdosed on that dope, right, then that's the stuff that they go after. And the people would rat poison 2 out of 300 of the folds, guaranteeing you got a couple of people to die of a drug overdose that they were going to talk about in the news. As sad as it is, it was just an advertising technique back in the day. Sad.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I mean, somebody that gets unalived by that type of chemical, it's not an easy way to die. I mean, it's definitely, or not an easy way to pass away. I mean, it's definitely, poison, and it hits you, but it's definitely a horrible way.
Half a dozen people that have died that way.
Yeah.
Easy.
Wow. It's no joke. Yeah, it's no joke.
It is.
Nowadays, the stuff is so strong, they don't have to do that, right? It's killing every 9 or 10 person that gets it anyway, so they don't have to worry about that anymore.
Awesome. Wow. Right. Excuse me 1 second. I'm sorry.
It happens to the best of us, my man.
Yeah, I got a frog in my throat. I got to grab something to drink. I'm right here. Just in a second.
So, have you ever heard this? I know this is about Rymir believing that Jay is his dad, etc., but his surname, Satterthwaite, not sure if he is aware. There's a village in the county of Cumbria where I live in the UK.
Wow. That's cool. We did know that Satterthwaite was a special name because I looked it up years ago because it's 12 characters and it's so unique. But I didn't know it was in UK, so that would be nice to come and visit.
Yeah, very cool, right?
Yeah.
Gotta get a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is an opinion one here. Will Beyonce's dirt come to light, or do the ladies at the top just get off clean? Well,
I think it will come to light.
Yeah,
I do.
I'm watching people. This is what I comment on, right? Pretty much now for a living, and people don't talk about these two, right? Mm-hmm. Unless it's to say, I want to thank Beyonce because I just got my driver's license, and you don't thank anybody but Beyonce for anything. I'm not kidding. Like every award ceremony, people will win an Academy Award and thank Beyonce. You can look up online and watch every single person that's ever thanked her at an award ceremony put together in one clip, and it takes about 10 minutes. It's the craziest crap you ever saw in your life. Something goes on with these people, and there's a lot of smoke of people that say, she's into some really heavy
idol worshiping.
Yeah, a lot of crazy stuff. Some dark.
Could you imagine like anybody like Larry the Cable Guy thanking her like, I like to thank Beyonce for my new socks today and all. It's crazy. The following people will worship that kind of stuff.
Well, she's won more Grammys than any other person in history, and I think he's number 2, right?
Yeah, but we don't know if they were all purchased. Some people were saying they were trying to say
trust and believe they are.
Yeah, money did some of that. Yeah.
Well, 50 Cent doesn't have one, right?
Yeah, and he said that Jay-Z didn't get his until after he married Beyonce. Yeah, and he's talking about his kids has Grammys too, and they don't sing. Yeah. I mean, it's really crazy, but it's sad to be able to have to use your money for everything like that. I want to be able to feel like I can do it myself and I earn this. I want to fake the funk of everything.
Like, J-Lo doesn't even sing. Like for real, like her entire career is other really talented black women singing, and then she takes the credit for it. But they bragged about this.
Dance. Yeah,
they bragged about this. You don't want to create an artist that's got talent. They'll ask to go to another label. They'll want more money. They'll tell you they want their rights. If you can find somebody that's got no talent and you can use auto-tune to get them, to where they're going, and you make them famous, you have somebody else write their lyrics, and they make $100 million. You can give them 10. Right. But Beyonce makes $100 million. She wants 110, right? And a contract to go with it. So they go out of their way to create stars. And this keeps coming out. The more we deep dive this, the more you hear them literally brag about it, right? You're nothing without me. I will I find the people to write your lyrics, right? I will put auto-tune on there so you don't sound stupid. I will promote you, but you're owned. You really are selling your soul to these people.
Well, did you guys see I guess it was 2 weeks ago, the one of the football games that she did the halftime
Houston,
performance
Texas.
or whatever? Yeah, I mean, she was in all white. Everybody was in all white. So it's almost like they were throwing the white parties still at everybody's faces at that point in time.
Right.
Because everybody thought the same thing. I mean, every Facebook sports group that was watching that I'm part of was like, oh my God, can you see that, Beyonce's done this and this, and they're throwing it in the faces. It's like
the same narrative. Yeah.
The same. It's like, why not? And you're dressed up like a cowboy and then you're in all white where, I guess that's the good guy. So then you're trying to even play the good guy part as opposed to, say, dressing in all black and being evil or just normal cowboy garb. Why does it have to be all white to symbolize the parties? That's the way I've looked at it, So.
Right.
It certainly got a lot of people's attention.
It did, because other people were saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
She's also announced the Beyonce Bowl is going to be coming out January the 14th.
And that's the same day they're supposed to be dropping the Netflix for Diddy.
That's right. That's the same day they're going to be dropping. I'm sure that's a coincidence, right? It's what they don't. They're trying to do everything they can because they now got to stick with this Spyro narrative that these guys aren't friends. Right? They're industry associates. They hang out at functions, but they're not friends. They don't call each other. Their kids don't call each other uncle or anything, right? That BS narrative he came out with, they got to push. So now anything she can do to not have this in the spotlight, because obviously these guys are the best of friends. The only person allowed to call him Sean other than his mommy. Right?
Exactly.
Although that's been scrubbed. That's down from the internet. You can't go watch that anymore. Guy took down his #1 video on his YouTube channel and just decided to demonetize it. We all do that. That's good business.
That's wild. That is wild. That's for sure. Okay, guys, you all, if you keep on throwing the questions out, Doc, are you still good or?
Yeah. What kind of questions are they having? They look like they kind of look a little quiet now.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. And I know you've been with us a few hours, and Tommy too. I just didn't know how you were on time. If you wanted to still hang out, or Tommy still, and how did you guys want to keep going?
Did you guys have any more questions for me?
Yeah, if there are any more questions, for sure.
Yes, please. So this young lady can answer, and if not, then she can actually enjoy some of her evening.
The white parties are still happening, by the way. Somebody just said that. The white parties are absolutely still happening. They were taken over. Somebody else has taken over throwing the white parties.
Who's that?
He was a former record executive at Bad Boy. He's a white guy, and his name is escaping me right now. But apparently they are a very different kind of party than they used to be, right? And I think that they joked about this the other night at the Golden Globes, right? That woman that was hosting said, "Boy, the after party ain't going to be that good this year, is it?"
Wow.
Yeah, it got a lot of people. Talking, but
yeah, I mean, they need to try to change it over to a better role model, if you will, because the whole thing they were saying to stop producing more Diddies. So that because somehow they were trying to keep certain people on a bottleneck, or they just tied down when they do get in the industry. Part of this control thing. So now, if Jay-Z and Diddy's not doing it, then who's going to be doing it? So
I got an interesting
curious
question.
to see who that person is.
Do you think that Diddy and people like him. Yes, it is Michael Rubin. Thank you.
Michael
That's
Rubin.
who's throwing the party. Do you think people like that are created, or do you think they go out and find them? Right? Do you think they find people like that, and that this is some kind of a larger operation? To me, this is the most fascinating question.
I
Are
think they
people like
find
Epstein?
them. Yeah. I think they pick the people depending on what people are going to do. You can tell when you meet people in certain types of industry, and let's just talk about the entertainment, and how hungry they are and what they're willing to do. Now,
Right.
if you have a narrative already of doing hanky-panky and dirty stuff, you need somebody to help you do that along, because you might want to be on a vacation somewhere or whatever. So I think some of this was definitely they were picked and then they were trained. But the thing is, they gave them an option, because the other day I saw a video with Justin Bieber. Going back to him, he said something about how they told him if he do certain things, he would turn him from a millionaire to a mogul. So it really depends on what the person wanted and what they're willing to do. And I know they definitely picked Diddy because he was willing to do whatever he had to do. Now, let's back up now. Diddy came from a wild situation with his mama.
Yeah.
I mean, he been exposed to some crazy stuff.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, and unfortunately, instead of him walking away from it, I think he tried at one point. That's probably why he was talking to TD Jakes. I don't think it was hanky-panky, but who knows? I think he was trying to help him, because I get people sometimes that have very strong circumstances and conditions, and they come to me because I'm a strong person in God, and they really need me to get in there and help them with their situation on a spiritual tip and physical. So I think for him that this was something was picked out from the industry and probably vetted to some degree to see what they're going to do. And they did it. And then they gave him the money to went along with it, because it's a part of a bigger narrative. Because they know at that top that they're not going to be able to do this all the time and the way they probably want. But whoever's doing it loves control. So then you just build other people or create other people in that same arena, if you will. Because one of the things I heard, they said, why we don't need to create any more new Diddies. Somebody better. So if this person is doing the white parties now, let's hope they better. Let's hope they bring a new wave.
He's been doing them for years, Doc. I didn't mean to cut you off. Michael Rubin actually probably started with those. Tommy, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Probably about the same time Diddy did. I mean, he's older than Diddy, so probably.
So his was
I'm thinking. Yeah, I mean, he still does the white parties every year.
Oh, good for him. Because my cousin does white parties.
Yeah, so I did a deep dive on this, and the very first white party that I could find happened in the Hamptons before World War II, and the idea originally was they didn't want anybody trying to impress the guest list with what they wore, so you had to wear something white that didn't have the name of any manufacturer or anything on it, and it was the idea was you were going to get rid of all that status and all that BS, and everybody would just be there and you could be yourself. Kind of a cool concept if you think about it. But then they show up in, $400,000 cars and helicopters, and it kind of
wow, that's crazy. Excuse me. Let's see here. I got one more. I got let's see right below that. Coming up next, it looks like we got how will we know? And it's not showing on the screen. There we go. How will we know that Jay-Z will provide his DNA if a judge does rule in favor for Rymir? Basically saying, there's an order out. You got to supply your DNA to compare to Rymir's. Do we think that he'll even do that if it's court ordered?
Probably not. He might settle with him then. Who knows? But so you got two layers to the case. You have several layers, and the first layer is not about paternity. So when this fraud stuff gets dealt with correctly, then that does open the door to the question of, do you want your original complaint to be executed, so to speak? And then you have to make that decision at that time. I think at that point, I don't think he would take it. I think he would just probably settle at it'll be another settle. And you'll have your court case that you're dealing with that's been awarded you because of the fact that the fraud was what it was. And now you have the other issue, because you got multiple issues here.
Right.
And then you can decide whether or not you want. But I think that he probably won't, because a lot of people told me, they said, you got to follow the money. and somebody at certain levels cannot do certain things because this can destroy their brand. So,
but what does he do at that point? I mean, if he's backed in a corner, he's got to make some type of decision.
right, he might settle with him. He might just say, "Look, just take this, and whatever, because I can't do it or I don't want to do it." And because Rymir is a good person, and this is we believe is his father, it's not going to be like sock it to him. So it can't be that insensitive. So I think this is why I'm going to leave that up to him.
Right.
100% him.
Well,
For
if he
me,
wants to save his brand, he might want to put his arm around his son. That would
that could help too.
Yeah.
Well, you got to talk. You got to talk to him. Somebody like you guys got to say, look, somebody who really knows about life needs to sit down and have a real talk with him, because he got to understand this money stuff is not going to get you nowhere. You better look again. And then also that the public is usually very forgiving.
Yeah.
So you just got to get it to a place where don't be arrogant and nasty, because money don't make you. It don't make your character. In fact, it makes people dislike you more when you use it as a tool or a weapon. So I'm hoping that somebody will talk some wisdom in him, and this could work itself out. Because even this situation with the young lady who's 38, Jane Doe.
Yep.
I'm not saying you got to give all your money out, but you need to have some healthy conversations with somebody.
Celebrity B did, right? We didn't hear who Celebrity B is, so somebody was able to afford whatever was happening there, made it a good decision. We don't know who Celebrity B is.
See, I'm a little more vindictive of that. I look at it this way: if you've abandoned a child that at some point in his life you could have stepped up and been some sort of role model and a figure, and now you're basically just going to ignore every request to say, hey, I want to see if you're my dad, then I'd sock it to him and hit him where it hurts. And if he says here's $10 million, there would be my education, there would be my life, throw it in a trust fund, and that would be me. And if that's it, I'm taking at least what I should be given for the pain and suffering of all that. But that's just me.
Right.
Somebody hurts me like that, I'm gonna hit them where it hurts. But that's just me. So
Yeah, because this is about rejection. It's that ugly word.
Right.
It's about rejection, and nobody wants to be in that, especially in front of the whole world.
Well, and we live in a world now where about 54% of the people walking this planet come from a broken home, right? A divorced home. And there are so many people out there who had a parent do exactly the same thing. And, someone just wrote in the comments, it went by quick, but it said, I'm not very forgiving when it comes to kids. I'm not either. And I think that's, I'm really forgiving about a lot of stuff. I'm an ex-convict, but there's just certain things that I'm not. And I think that, this is one of those situations where if you're listening to handlers about what you need to do about a child who has the same DNA as you, you need to get your shit together. Pardon my French.
Right.
But that's not something you need a handler to tell
find a way to fix it.
Yeah. Be a man.
Yep, you got to find a way. It's a grown person's problem.
That's it.
Grown people got to do it. So you got to do it.
Yep. And someone said kids grow up, dad. I had to grow up. I wasn't a dad for a really long time. I sure as hell am now, but everybody kind of has to get to that point. And maybe Mr. Carter's ready for that. Maybe that needs to happen.
And guys, just wanted to say thank you as far as the YouTube platform and the X platform. We've got about 2,000 people watching between the two. So just wanted to shout out to everybody for staying with us this long and giving Dr. Lou and Tommy and myself a little bit of time. So just want to throw that in there, guys. Sorry. Go ahead, Tommy.
And no joke, that puts us right about CNN's. That's about what people are watching CNN daily. So getting the word out.
I think this is a good question here.
This says, what do you think of the music industry currently, especially the rap scene? And what precautions would you suggest or advise your godson to take?
Initially, I told him to follow his dreams and just do what he's supposed to do. Because I said, if you got it in you and it's a passion, you can't let the environment dictate to you. But then he was explaining to me back then about some of the crazy stuff that was going on. I didn't know it was this deep till recently. And he was saying that you could be a target and a lot of other different things. And he didn't feel that it was time for him to really, really go out there and blossom like he wanted to because of all this corruption. I think now as you're going in 2025, and Tommy, you've been saying a lot about it. I think we're turning the tides now. But originally, I would have said, go and do it, what you're supposed to do. But he said he was understanding a little bit differently about the rap scene, that it was too gangster, too killing, too everything. And Rymir raps and sings. So he's not just a rapper, he sings. It's his mother's song too. They're in the music, period. But
so the genetics are strong.
Yeah, on both sides. So I think that I always want him to follow his heart, follow his gut. Don't be a people pleaser. Don't follow people, and be prayerful. Meditate, talk to God about it. Do what you're supposed to do, and then when you walk in it, you can just feel good about it. But I think we're getting to a place now that we might go back to, I won't say old time religion, but old time songs. The songs that got us here. There was a time when this industry wasn't as broken. You had good music coming out of it, soulful music, things that hit the soul and the spirit, and people's lives. It was just different. So I'm hoping and praying we get back to that. We're not so far away from it that we can't get back, but there has been some cracks. There's been some cracks and things that has happened. But that's what I would do.
I tell you, it is amazing. And you mentioned the time, but I mean, you've got, and even Beyonce, I mean, there are, artists of color now that are stepping over into the country genre. And then you've got some of the white country boys stepping into the hip hop, or what they consider country rap and everything, and crossing over and doing things together. That's something that 30 years ago you never would have thought happens. It's just, black is black and white is white at that point.
Right.
So again, there is some good music coming out now where you've got people stepping over into the different genres, but it's just taken, in my opinion, way too long to get to that point. So I'm glad to see it. I mean, there's some neat stuff out there, but it's more coming as far as I can see.
Yeah, I liked Eminem when he came over. He was excellent. Yep. He gave everybody a chase for their money, and he's been also quiet. He stayed away from a lot of this crazy stuff. He's lived a pretty much, decent life. I think his daughter just got married.
Yes, she did, and she's pregnant.
Yeah. So being grounded and trying to do halfway decent something can pay off.
Yeah. Well, in life, like I've been watching this the whole time I've been alive, but you pull a bowstring far enough and you let it go, it doesn't come back to here. It goes in the opposite direction. Mm-hmm. So when you see people abusing kids and abusing women and getting as far out as we've gotten in the industry, I agree with you. I think it's going to come back to something. It's not going to go back to where it was. It's going to come back more conservative, because that's just always the way it is. You can't make your parents angry unless you do something completely different than they do. And I think we're going to see people who are getting more spiritual and more grounded. I think that's a direction that I see it going. I really do. Maybe I'm nuts.
Yeah, I agree with you too, Tommy. I mean, it's you've only got at some point so many different styles of music before you come full circle and you go back and you change what was once the basis for, let's say, country music in the 60s and rap in the 80s. You come back and all of a sudden you've got some of these new rappers that are going back to that specific style. In country music, actually going back to being country, not the new age country and all. And then you've got artists doing a little bit of both, so it's a lot more talent. It is grounded, but I think a lot of it's coming back, full circle at this point.
Right, which is good. I love my Dolly Parton, though, by the way.
Oh, Dolly.
Girl.
My dad looked like Kenny Rogers all his days. And
I love Kenny Rogers.
Little 30
Everybody loves
story,
Kenny Rogers.
Little 30-second story. My parents went to Ocean City, and Kenny Rogers played at the Ocean City Convention Center one year. There was a little old lady in a wheelchair at the front. Well, back then you would dress up in dress clothes to go to these small concerts. Well, he went to step off stage when the concert was done, and my father and mom were walking. They were on the second row, and this lady in the wheelchair, she had poor vision, but he looked enough like him. She asked my dad, begging for an autograph. And he actually, instead of saying, "Oh, I'm not him," because she couldn't hear that well, and she was like 90 years old. So he got down and he autographed his name and instead of Kenny's, and her daughter laughed and said, "Thank you very much, but you just made my mother's day." And he gave her a kiss on the head and took off.
Oh, she didn't even recognize it. It wasn't his name.
It was just enough that he was a good-looking man standing in front of her, and
she took advantage of an opportunity.
Yeah, she did. He just went along with it to make some young lady or young lady's day. So that's cool. So guys, I think for Tommy, I think we're getting close on your end. Does anybody else have any questions for Doc Lil before we get ready to wrap everything up?
If some of your Twitter people wanted me to come on, they said make sure you come on next time on your godson. We got a great Twitter family out there. So shout out to everybody. I want to thank you all. I see so many great messages and feedback, and I want to thank all of you. I want you to all be encouraged to think about your own lives, your own journeys, and just be on the path to where you're supposed to be. Don't be nobody else but you. Nobody can beat you in being you. But I want to thank you all for supporting me and my godson. And then Tommy, the pleasure's been all mine. I'm so glad you popped in.
I'm telling you, it's an honor.
It's an honor here too. And I'm just glad our worlds collided in a good way. And I just think this is a beginning to no end. And I just want everybody to be encouraged. I want everybody to know that everybody has a purpose. It's just that our season is right now this kind of way, because I'm a private person and all that jazz. But I found myself where I'm at, and I'm not complaining. I'm just explaining, because God don't like complainers. So I just want to say that it is what it is. And I'm glad I have people to be with us to carry it on. So I want to make sure I got that out. But thank you all very much.
I think you've made a lot of fans, and you and Rymir both have got probably at least 2 platforms here for Mr. Atwood, and Tommy can speak on that for his. And anytime something comes up, and whenever you guys get straight, we can do some GoFunding for Mr. Rymir. We will be here for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you. We'll get all you the information that you need. And I do have a YouTube channel. I just started doing more stuff with it. It's it's called Keeping It Real with Dr. Lil. I don't know if I got the name, but y'all find it. You'll say it'll be my first and last name. And the reason why I started it was for the obvious, talking about my legal story and my personal story about how tragedy can turn into opportunities. But the biggest thing is I wanted people to hear it from me, because you got the AI and all this stuff going on, and it's nothing like hearing it from the person themselves and all this other stuff.
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
So, and Tommy, you got anything else good for us, guy?
Something. It's just really been an honor to meet Dr. Lil. It's been an honor to meet Rymir. He's, somebody put a comment in earlier, and I know we all want to be nice, but somebody wrote, he's probably better off if he stays away from this guy. He seems to be a much better human being than his dad. You know what? Maybe his dad just needs him in his life. For real. I was a pretty shitty person for a really, really long time. Maybe what Jay needs is Rymir, and it'll turn him into the man that he was supposed to be. I wouldn't put that past the reality of possibility.
Well, so, guys, everybody put really a one in the chat too for Tommy, that Mr. Tommy got engaged over the holidays and gave out a big fat ring, and his missus happy.
So. Very nice.
I did.
Yeah,
very excited.
Congratulations, sir. I just wanted to throw that out there to you. So
thank you, Shane. I appreciate that, Shane. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. So, guys, we're gonna wrap everything up, and Tommy, have a great evening. Dr. Lil, from the Atwood family and the lifeboat. You guys are both amazing. Rymir's got an amazing godmother, and he's following in some good footsteps. So keep it up, and we're here for you guys.
All right, thank you. We'll be in touch. Thank you for all your support.
Okay, sounds good. Good night, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.
Great job, Shane.
Bye.